It's overcast, slightly humid, a chance of showers on the plains of Alabama. No preseason for the cookout and the tailgate. They are ready to roll. War Eagles, say the fans of the Tigers. Visiting the plains of Alabama from the plains of the West, it's Wyoming as we welcome you to the start of the college football weekend. And for that matter, the start of the college football season for us here at ESPN. Hi, everyone, along with Kirk Herbstreit, Lee Corso, Mike Tirico. This is season 22 of college football. As long as there's been an ESPN, there's been a college football season on ESPN. And we're glad to kick it off with two teams. I think the matchup is better than some people may see the headlines. Let's start with Auburn. 99, a year of transition. 2000, maybe they can make a little run at the postseason, Kirk.
Well, if you think about Auburn football, you think of great running backs, talented running backs. Although last year they couldn't get it going. They had one of the worst ground attacks in all of college football, averaging only 68 yards a game on the ground. Well, this past offseason, they've rededicated themselves, and they have a bigger back. The junior college transfer, Rudy Johnson. This guy had phenomenal numbers this past season as a junior college player. Look at how many yards he had. Look at the average per carry, almost 7 yards per carry, 47 touchdowns, including 7 in a championship game. He knows what to do once he gets the ball in his hands. He has great power. Now, look for Auburn in this game early to go after a smaller Wyoming defensive front, really pound them early, and then try to lure them in and go over top of them with the big pass.
Good point, Kirk. I think you're absolutely right. But now when Wyoming has the football, they've got an offensive leader, number 11, Jay Stoner. Jay's a 4-year starter at quarterback. He's thrown for over 6,000 yards and 27 touchdowns in his career. Last year, he hit 60% of his passes. He's the offensive captain. He's the leader. He was voted the preseason Offensive Player of the Year in the Mountain West. Now, Mike, if Wyoming's going to win this football game, Jay Stoner has got to bring his A game.
And what a start it would be to the head coaching career of that man. Vic Koenig was the defensive coordinator here. First time he's ever been a head coach at any level in his entire 40-year life. On the opposite side, it's year 2 for Tommy Tuberville. Did a great job at Ole Miss. Now has come here to Auburn. They're expecting a winning season down here in 2000. We had showers earlier, but the field is dry. It wasn't a major shower. Skies are slightly threatening, but it could be hotter. It is humid here this evening. Crowd of 70+ thousand on hand. Wyoming in their new prairie gold pants with the white tops will kick to Auburn. Wyoming won the toss, deferred the option to the second half. Aaron Elling, the senior, ready to kick. A little fake. Wyoming will try it off. Hey, Wyoming is not intimidated. They've played at Georgia, at Tennessee, at Ohio State. This crowd will not intimidate them. The kick comes to the speedsters of Auburn. Taken by Michael Owens instead. The up back as Carter was back deep to receive, and Owens brought it out to the 28. The quarterback for Auburn is Ben Laird. He's a senior. It's his job. It's his team. He will make this team go on offense. The skill players with him, Rudy Johnson, Kirk talked about. Keith Evans was a tailback last year. Ronnie Daniels, a 1,000-yard receiving man. Lorenzo Diamond starts at tight end, but wait for 87. Robert Johnson, a freshman who they love. First drive starts from the 28. Let's see what Rudy Johnson's made of. First time he touches the ball as a Tiger, 13 yards. I mean, they've been waiting for that all year.
Yeah, nothing fancy here, Mike. Kind of an inside zone play. Nice block in the inside by number 44, Heath Evans. And then you can see how he's very, very quick to the hole. And he's got great instinct and great vision.
The key to that play, Kirk, was number 44, Heath Evans, blocking that linebacker.
After picking up 13, there's 87. Robert Johnson. He's the tight end near side of the screen. Just step back. In motion now. There tries Johnson again. Ball came out. SEC officials working the game tonight. Wyoming indicating that they have the ball, and they do. A big turnover right away for the Cowboys. Damon Rourke, the junior from Bozeman, Montana, on the bottom of the pile. What a huge moment and a tough start for Rudy Johnson, the highly touted tailback.
Well, what happens here, Johnson did good blocking to line, but the man blocked, come right in. Boom! You see how he put his head right on that football? That was an absolute perfect play by the defensive player. Put his head on the football.
Jeff Boyle slid right through there off
Yep.
the block, got his head in there, and made the play. That's a big momentum switch for the Wyoming Cowboys early in this game.
First drive of the season for the Cowboys starts in hostile territory at the Auburn 39. Their quarterback is Jay Stoner, a senior. He, like Laird, has no questions about who the guy is this year pulling the trigger. And the first down carry for Al Rich, who was the starting safety when fall camp began. There is Stoner. He's had to fight other people, deal with a lot of different offenses. He is the man and has the confidence. And the skill position players are led by Al Rich, who was the starting safety at the start of camp. They have no experience in the receiving group. Brock Ralph caught 8 passes last year. That's it.
Interesting. All the talk about how they're going to get back to a little bit more of a conservative ground game. They come right out of the chute and they're going no huddle.
4 wides, 1 back, 2nd and 2. Stoner goes right to work for Brock Ralph. And he's got a first down. Wyoming moved the chains at the Auburn 21. Here's the battle up front. Kellerman, Irvin the center, Goldberg the right tackle. They're the experienced guys. Going up against an Auburn front 4, which is brand new. All of these players starting their first Division I college game. That's what Mike Gottfried was talking about in college football tonight. The inexperience up front. The unknown on the Auburn defense. Stoner runs Rich across the 18 into the 17. Wyoming's getting a little move off the line of scrimmage to get going. Let's check the back 7 for the Auburn Tigers. Alex Lincoln's an old walk-on who's now a senior on scholarship and a leader with Rob Payton, that linebacking corps. In the secondary, the corners, Casher and Creighton, are experienced and good. Simmons and Walker are new starters. Stanford Simmons, a sophomore, seeing through with 37, Rashad Walker. Wyoming looking to cash on the turnover early. They've moved it into the red zone. And it is Al Rich again to the 14-yard line.
The interesting thing about to me is Kirk in the pregame show talked about Auburn sticking it right to Wyoming. The other way around.
Yes,
They're
sir.
spreading them out, making it look like it's going to be a passing formation, then running right at them.
You know what's interesting about that is all I'm sure Auburn thought and heard about was how Wyoming's going to a little bit more conservative, 2 tight ends, trying to mix up their formations. And right now, Wyoming's coming out and they're throwing the football and they're spreading everybody out.
Need to get to the 11 to keep the drive alive. 5 in the pattern on 3rd and 3. Stoner has a first down. To the 4-yard line, it goes to Matt Swanson, who is the backup quarterback. The junior out of Boise, Idaho, threw 127 passes last year, makes a reception, and it's first and goal, Cowboys.
Now, the reason why this play works is watch the block right here by Rich. Boom. He knocks the contain down. Kirk, it gives a quarterback a free look.
Free look for the quarterback, and also I think Rob Pate got a little bit lost there with the scheme. Very good scheme. They had 3 receivers there. They flooded the entire zone, and all by himself, Swanson out in the flat.
First and goal, Wyoming. Changing the pace of the game here. They run Rich to the right side, and he is just shy of the goal line. You can't impress enough what they're doing in terms of running the ball offensively and how things have changed so much for this team offensively. Al Rich is the All-Mountain West Conference safety. Preseason. Not running back, safety. He's never run in a college game, was a high school running back. They had a dearth of running backs, and they said we need to get some substance, some style, and some oomph on the offensive side of the ball. They moved Rich over to offense, and he may score here. 2nd and a few inches. No, he's stopped there. Charge led by Josh Weldon and the middle linebacker Alex Lincoln.
We've talked about this for years, you and I. When you get down to the goal line, that one back offense ain't worth nothing. The reason why, nobody's there to block the linebacker. Back in the old days when you played and I coached, you always have the lead blocker to pick up that scrape guy. Was that right or wrong?
You're right. And that, and also your favorite. What's your favorite inside the 1?
Quarterback sneak.
That's right. Not going to happen here, my friend.
Stanley Simmons, the Auburn free safety, is out with an injury. Freshman Rashad Hilliard is in. 3rd and goal inside the 3. Stoner got a block from Rich. Deflected. And it was intercepted. Alex Lincoln, the senior.
You can see the pressure. Lincoln not only knocks the ball down, but he also has a presence of mind to go after the football and make the interception.
And the interesting thing, Lincoln was the guy that stuffed them on the play before.
2 possessions, 2 turnovers, no score. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Dr. Jerry Punch. Auburn, Alabama, Wyoming, and Auburn the last 4 years. 1st and 3rd in the nation in forcing turnovers. Both have forced turnovers here in the very first drives of the season. Alex Lincoln, the deflection and interception, keeping Wyoming off the board after the Cowboys got it in Tiger territory. So Auburn will have the long field to go with Ben Laird back under center. Rudy Johnson right back in the game. He fumbled on his 2nd carry. With Heath Evans, the fullback, leading. Johnson to the left. Get it right back to him. He gets about 3 yards. We didn't talk about the Auburn offensive line. A lot of injuries on this group. Kendall Simmons, the junior left tackle, 73, would be a man to watch if you're looking for somebody who has good technique. They go up against a Wyoming defensive front where Patrick Chukura is the key rush man. 9 sacks last year. He's the best pressure guy. Jeff Boyle, 92, in on that fumble earlier. On the nose, back from a knee injury, and the pulse of the defensive front. After a 3-yard pickup, Laird to the air. Into coverage, but caught at the 31-yard line by Clifton Robinson, the senior out of Naples, Florida, who operates out of the slot. When they throw the ball, they'll be going against the back 7, led by Kwabena Pepra. The man in the middle is a senior from Plano, Texas. Now, here's the story for Wyoming's defense. If they're going to be good in 2000, it's up to these guys. Did you see tonight's kickoff?
Yep.
And the first play? It was the first play any of these guys played as a Division I starter. It's all brand new to them.
All brand new graduates of junior college.
That's right. Except for Lamar James, the redshirt freshman strong safety.
Checking maybe here to
run Rudy to the right. And Johnson gains just a couple of yards. You talk about checking. Ben Laird will do a lot of that this year, Kirk.
Yeah, one of the advantages that Ben Laird has in being a senior is very familiar with this offense. You can see in 98 he struggled. A lot of fans here at Auburn got upset with him. 99 he turned it around. He was having a great year. He said that in the Ole Miss game the light went off. Everything kind of opened up and he saw defenses. He made better reads. The key in this game is they're giving him a lot of flexibility at the line of scrimmage. If he sees man-to-man with Ronnie Daniels, he will throw to Ronnie Daniels in one-on-one situations.
Ronnie Daniels is 25, their wide receiver. 4 receivers in the game. And Auburn is so deep at receiver this year. At the man coverage, and it is Daniels! Ronnie Daniels, touchdown Tigers!
We just talked about it. If Ben Laird gets one-on-one, he's going to try to take advantage of it. Here, once Ronnie Daniels gets by the cornerback, Eric Lee, you can see Jacques Finn try to come over to make the play, but Ronnie Daniels has that ability to make the big plays, and he high-pointed the ball for the touchdown.
Jacques Finn played that one like Jacques Cassot.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel, that was an absolute horrible play.
Damon Duval tags the extra point as part of that inexperience in the Wyoming back line. Ben Laird threw a dozen touchdowns last year. That man had 4 touchdown catches of over 59 yards. This one was 66, and Tuberville's team up 7.
Hi, I'm Ronnie Daniels, wide receiver for Auburn University. I haven't always concentrated on football. I played 3 seasons with the Montreal Expos organization. But now, football is my thing. Last season, I broke the single-season school record for receiving yards.
That's right next door to Jordan-Hare Stadium over at Hitchcock, the baseball field. This man hit a lot of home runs on the football field last year and just hit another one, 66 yards from Ben Laird. Auburn on top, 7-0. Travis Short back deep to receive Damon Duval's kick under his leg. Touchback. Drive start from the 20 for the Wyoming offense.
Jay Stoner, a lot of experience. For the last 4 years, he has been quarterbacking the Cowboys, and he said that when Vic Koenig took over the program, did a nice job of instilling more confidence in Stoner. He walked into the first team meeting as the head coach, and he said, every position is open except yours. Jay Stoner, you're my starting quarterback. And Jay said from that point on, even though he already had a lot of experience, his confidence has been soaring, and he needs to exude that confidence right now.
6 plays ago, he had his Cowboys down at the 1, looking at a field goal to take the lead. Instead, they now trail 7-0. Al Rich for a couple. The senior from Colorado Springs takes it past the 22.
Coach mentioned the youth. Mike, you talked about it too. The youth of Auburn up front, the defensive line. Just because they're young, they're very, very talented. A lot of junior college players up there, very skilled, very athletic. So it may take them a while to adjust, but once they do, they expect big, big things from this defensive line down the road this season.
We're going to rotate 8 players in there tonight on the defensive front. Swanson, the backup quarterback, back in the game and in motion. And Stoner goes right to it. Gain 6 to the 26. It'll be 3rd and 4. Let's remind you that the guys head back to the studio to join Chris Fowler for College Game Day on Saturday. Then I know it's the first game of the year, but that's an important Big East game. Boston College in Morgantown. And then in prime time, number 24 Southern Miss, number 12 Tennessee in the land of the Big Orange. College football, first full weekend of the season on ESPN.
Tennessee still doesn't know who their quarterback's going to be. That could be a tough game right there for Tennessee.
Could be a good game.
All you need to do is ask the guys over in Alabama about seeing Southern Miss in September. 3rd and 5, beat the play clock. Stoner is taken down. And that's one of the guys they're going to rotate in who they feel good about. Alton Moore, 6'7" junior, with his first Division I sack.
One of the things we did was we talked to some of the pro scouts, and they think this guy is a bona fide all-star football player coming to the pros. The kid is 6'7", 262 pounds, a graduate of Southwest Missouri Community College, and what a player.
Between Alton Moore and Jabbar Mills, 96 on the other side. You're talking about 2 guys, again, once they develop by middle of the season, they could be very, very special.
High snap back to the punter. Tom Waring gets it away. Kicking to Clifton Robinson from the 37. Return of about 10 to the 47-yard line. The marker's down. Adrian Hill made the Wyoming tackle. Let's check the flag. The punt was 44. The return was 10. But it looks like it may be altered a bit. Roger Redding leaves the Southeastern Conference crew of officials here tonight.
We have holding against the receiving team, 10-yard penalty from the end of the run, first down.
Tommy Tuberville will see his team with a little poorer field position than they had hoped. Tommy Tuberville took over for Terry Bowden, and it was so unsettled. It was like flying over a thunderstorm. It was choppy. I didn't mean to bring up thunderstorms.
That's okay.
It was choppy. It was uncomfortable. It really needed a year of settling in, and it might be the right guy with his hand on the wheel to settle a program down. Tommy's done a very nice job. There's quiet confidence here on the Plains. They're not bragging. They say, just let us show you what we're made of.
Very optimistic. Optimistic about this season.
A first down run with Rudy Johnson, and not much there. That is Wabana Pepra yapping as well as he knocks Johnson to the ground. We talked about all the hype on Rudy Johnson, who Pepper just knocked down. It's with good reason. Rudy Johnson had an unbelievable junior college finale. In the national championship game for junior college, he scored 7 touchdowns in 1 game. That's why all the folks down here were all jacked up that he was a part of the Tiger offense. Laird looking long again. Why not? Tim Carter, the speedster, to the 26-yard line. 37 yards.
Again, once you see one-on-one, because of the inexperience of the Cowboys secondary, you could see the safety sliding up. When he did that, there's nobody back there to come over to make the play. And I tell you, right now, Sidney Lewis is having a tough time staying with the speed and athleticism of the Auburn wide receivers.
They told us that Tim Carter, the sophomore from St. Petersburg, Florida, is the fastest player on the Auburn football team.
After a 37-yard pickup, Ben Leard, who's putting out some gaudy early numbers, gives to Rudy Johnson, who takes it across the 20 and carries him to the 18-yard line. Remember, they average 2 yards a carry, so Ben Laird, if they run the ball well, has a chance to put up big numbers this year.
And it's one thing, automatically you see the change in Rudy Johnson. He's got 2 hands on the football when he's running into the dangerous area. And boy, he sure learned a lesson real quick in the SEC, didn't he?
And also you can see a different surge from the Auburn offensive line this year. And I know it's only been a few series, but they're blowing people back as opposed to getting blown back themselves.
Second and 3, Johnson again. He'll be just shy of the first down. Talked about the last time he played a football game. Rudy Johnson, Butler County Junior College in Kansas, against Dixie College in the championship game, 373 yards and 7 touchdowns. A second straight junior college title for Butler County JC. And we mentioned the excitement. Look at what this team did. This is an SEC. This is Auburn. This is Bo Jackson. They didn't run the ball at all last year. And they got a guy they think who can carry the load. An offensive line that is starting the season experienced and healthy. And on 3rd and 1, where they struggled last year, they are stopped here and go nowhere. Pat Hurst, the senior defensive end, will check the spot to see if they made the first down.
All the Wyoming defensive linemen submarined and got underneath the offensive line. Now, if I was Tommy Tuberville, I'd definitely go for this play, and I would definitely run a quarterback sneak to make the first down.
That's the first guess. That's the first guess of 2000.
First guess. You do not want to take the ball back and cause a bad play.
Well, Coach, there was no hesitation. Ben Laird looked over, and Tommy just said, let's go.
This is right in Tommy Tuberville's profile, too. Laird keeps it. First down, first correct, first guess.
Well, he's got a left guard, 282 pounds. The center weighs 306 pounds. The center weighs 306 pounds. Yo. Thank you very much. You know where that center's from? Punta Vedra. David Duval, TPC, of course. That's where that kid's from.
Lee.
Thank you.
I can take you to a golf event.
Absolutely. Curtis Strange, watch out.
First and 10, Auburn looking to add to a 7-0 lead on the season opener on Thursday Night Football. Fake to Johnson. The tight end, Johnson, touchdown. There are 2 offensive players they are all excited about, Rudy Johnson and Robert Johnson. And Robert Johnson found the end zone. Damon Duval on for the extra point. Ben Laird, 4 passes, 141 yards, 2 touchdowns. And they told us Robert Johnson is a star of the future, a tight end who can be a difference maker in this offense. Back in Auburn, Alabama, the Tigers turned it over on their first possession, scored on their next 2, and Ben Laird has been perfect so far.
Not a bad evening.
Good start to the season.
That'll help.
It's just interesting. In our open, we talked about Daniels, 25.
Yep.
Touchdown. We talked about 87, Robert Johnson. Touchdown. You talk about Rudy Johnson running. Yo, were we over or what?
So that would be
we got good ears.
That'd be a sign of good preparation, Coach.
Yeah.
Which you always like to see week 1, right?
Yep.
It's a good coaching point. Travis Short ready to take Damon Duval's kick. And take it in.
This kid has a huge leg. Huge leg.
We saw him make a 60-yard field goal in warm-ups comfortably.
No problem. Now, this touchdown, and Coach, you talked about the ability. We love this tight end. Robert Johnson, true freshman. He's matched up man-to-man with Tim Glenn. Right here, he is getting held. Now, watch him fight as Ben Lear gets to the outside. Man coverage by Glenn. He keeps fighting, uses his body, and once he gets to the outside off of Glenn, all bets are off. He's into the end zone.
Also, the thing I liked about him, he had really soft hands. Remember, they talked about the NFL scout said, we'll take him right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
And you know what? He played basketball growing up. He's just a phenomenal athlete, and he's going to be a big, big name here at Auburn.
Worst possible start for Wyoming. They run Derek Armah, redshirt freshman. First collegiate carry, 9 yards and some attitude to the 29. Be careful, some conversation with Mark Brown. Well, Vic Koenig, age 40, was the defensive coordinator. Took over as the head coach here at Wyoming. As you look at the Wyoming assistants on the sideline, and Vic says, I'm one of 10 coaches. I'm not the head coach. He doesn't want a lot of attention on him, but he's got to be a little concerned about his young defensive backs who have been exposed and challenged in the early going by Auburn's good receivers. Armah again. That's going to be right at the first down line at the 30-yard line.
We keep talking about Wyoming's composure in this football game and how they've played in big atmospheres and big buildings, playing at Ohio State and at Georgia and at Tennessee. It's going to be tested at this point. They're on the road. They're down early in the game, 14-0. They're going to need to rely on guys like Jay Stoner, experienced players, to help their younger players out right now.
Kirk, the reason why they're here is Texas Tech got out of the contract last year.
Yep.
So Auburn went looking for a game, and Wyoming need the money. Good reason to be here.
First and 10. As the second string back, Derek Armah is carried at 10 yards. And Stoner moves it 5 more, finding his wide receiver. It's the first collegiate catch for Ryan McGuffey, redshirt freshman out of Riverton, Wyoming. Jay Stoner has a chance this year to become Wyoming's all-time leading passer. The problem for them passing this year is the inexperience at the wide receiver spot.
Inexperience in a big way. You have Brock Ralph, who has some experience. He made some catches last year. They feel he's a down-the-field guy. Number 88, Malcolm Floyd, they think could be a very, very special player this year if he can develop as a young redshirt freshman.
Darth Kaczynski is the fullback. And a nice little pattern again for McGuffey, who picked up 9 yards, stepped out of bounds, but a first down at the 44.
This drive is kind of what I think Auburn expected, even though they can't defend it at this point. And I think this is what we expected. Yeah, you have a twin set, twins to one side, a tight end, eye backs. You're moving some people around a little bit more conventional. And I think probably want to stick with it because they're moving the ball pretty well.
Remember, from a coach's standpoint, when you get behind 14-0, psychologically, you want to try to get something on a scoreboard and don't go crazy. It's a nice drive because of that.
That's a lateral. The backup quarterback, and that's Brock Ralph. Touchdown, Cowboys. The lateral backward pass to the backup quarterback, Swanson. He hit Brock Ralph, breaking free. You got to put up a few mirrors if you're going to come in and knock off one of the big guys. And Vic Koenig puts 6 on the board. Matt Swanson already caught a couple of passes. And Stanford Simmons, who's starting his first Division I game, got caught peeking in the backfield.
See, that's what made that play so unique. Matt Swanson's been in already. It wasn't like a quarterback's coming in, everybody would be alert. He's already been in most of the first quarter, so they just looked at him as another receiver. They lulled him asleep, and then they slipped Floyd behind it.
Senior Aaron Elling adds the extra point. And it's 14-7, a huge score for Brock Ralph and the Cowboys.
What they're going to do here is they're going to get the quarterback, get him to the outside. It's a lateral, which allows Swanson the ability. Look at the safety come up here. Once he comes up, he's in trouble, and he's not going to be able to get back and recover from Brock Ralph.
You brought up a great point. Number 15 was already in the game, Swanson, so they didn't make that little movement. But most important right here is the ball was thrown backwards, and it didn't even look like that to the defense. And that's why they came up. Nice, well-designed play by Wyoming.
And as we saw from the first replay, clearly a legal lateral.
Sure. Yes.
And the line judge sticks his left arm out just to let everybody know, that is definitely a backward pass. We haven't had a forward pass yet. No controversy like the Tennessee-Buffalo NFL wildcard game.
Remember, psychologically, this now puts Wyoming back in the ball game mentally. But remember also, they also remember one thing. They should have had another touchdown. No question they should have driven it in from the 1-yard line. So this is a much closer ball game than 14-7. Should be maybe 14-14.
Nice, relaxed, easy, conventional start to our Thursday night season.
Yeah.
What is it about you two?
I think we were about 10 for 11 last year and taking the game out to the fourth quarter.
Aaron Elling boots it toward the sideline. Tim Carter let it go out of bounds. A very heads-up play by the sophomore. That will help him by about 19 yards.
The other thing to appreciate when you're watching this game is, remember the games this past weekend. College football, they don't have the luxury of having 4 preseason games and a month and a half of camp. You have 3 weeks to get ready. It's going to be
kick out of bounds against the kicking team. Auburn will put the ball in play at the 35-yard line. First down.
It's going to be a little bit sloppy in the early going, and for the most part, you know, it hasn't been that bad a game played on either side of the ball.
Before we leave that Wyoming play, you got to give new offensive coordinator Rusty Burns, who was at Memphis, a good pat on the back for calling that play. He's the new offensive coordinator.
He kind of lulled him asleep there by having Swanson in there, and they just forgot about it.
Auburn takes over on its own 35. Rudy Johnson with an opening. 6 yards to the 41. Submarined by Lamar James, and that should do it for the opening quarter. Certainly no lack of action in the first 15 minutes and no lack of accuracy for that man. Ben Laird, a perfect 4 of 4, a couple of touchdowns, 141 yards in the air. A good way to get going for him in the year 2000. Total 279 yards of offense between the Tigers and the Cowboys in that first quarter. But it was Auburn's big plays that ended up getting it done. Ronnie Daniels a touchdown, and the freshman Robert Johnson the second one. After one, Tigers 14, Cowboys 7 on Thursday night football. Where it counts, it's Auburn 14, Wyoming 7 as we start the second 15 minutes. On a humid night, season opener for these teams. Last year, Auburn was 5-6, finished 5th in the SEC West. Wyoming was 7-4, 4-3 in the Mountain West Conference. But a game out of a share of the conference title. 2nd and 4 to start the second quarter. And Rudy Johnson, couple there to the 45. That should be a first down. Right at the end of the first quarter, Jerry Punch spoke with Auburn's head coach, Tommy Tuberville.
Well, Coach, the offense hitting on all cylinders in the first quarter, but the defense took one away and got one taken away.
Yeah, we got to hold on to the ball. Our jerseys are real wet because of humidity, but I'm proud of our offense. We're blocking well. We just got to control the ball a little bit more defensively. We gave up one big play. Other than that, we're playing fine.
I like your newcomers, Johnson and Johnson.
That's looking pretty good. We just got to keep going to them.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
He thinks his team's jerseys are wet. He ought to be up here in the booth.
It is sticky, that's for sure. After Rudy Johnson's 4-yard first down, it's 1st and 10. Laird as a man breaking open. It is Reggie Worthy to the 30-yard line. 25 first down yards for Laird, who is hitting on all cylinders. 5 of 5 for 166 yards. This is the man who has to get it done for Auburn this year, Ben Laird, and he's getting it done. Wet jerseys or not.
Wet jerseys or not, he's spreading the ball around, and he's seeing some of the man-to-man situations that he talked to us about yesterday, and he's taking advantage of them.
Also, the other quarterback, Stoner's not doing bad. He's sitting 9 for 10 or 5 for 6. Both quarterbacks are 10 for 11. Yo, that's pretty good.
Stoner's only misses the interception.
That's right.
The Alex Lincoln play. First down run, Rudy Johnson to the 22. It's not even who it is. It's how they're doing it. If you're in the SEC, physically and mentally, you've got to run the ball. And they look like they can run with a purpose thus far.
But the interesting thing to me here is also their linemen are getting their heads up real good. Ben Nolan, they talked about him being the best sophomore lineman around. A center is a tremendous football player.
Rudy Johnson, 11 carries, 43 yards. That's 4 a pop, 2 yards more per carry than they averaged last year. Wrapped up by Adrian Hill, the senior out of Cedar Hill, Texas. Is it me, guys, or do you hear a little buzz in the crowd every time they toss to Rudy Johnson?
It's like they're holding their breath. It's like, oh, here he goes.
I'll predict by the second half they'll be saying Rudy. Rudy. Remember how they do that?
Oh, sure.
Look, because he's an exciting running back.
Yeah, Bo Jackson's picture is up there on the scoreboard. One of the 6 pictures of Auburn greats, and they just know their running backs here and so desperately want to see the Auburn Tigers have a balanced offense, but be able to run the ball and protect leads.
Interesting here. 4 receiver set, no tight ends, shotgun.
On 1st and 10. Dropped by Ronnie Daniels. Ronnie Daniels had over 1,000 yards last year. If there is a knock on Ronnie Daniels in his sophomore year, it's catching the ball. His hands need to improve because he's got the rest of the deal to go with him.
Coaches told us that last year at this time he couldn't catch anything. Heading into the first game, and all of a sudden the lights came on, and boom, everything. He's one of these guys that when it's game time, he makes big plays. But you're right, he needs to be a little bit more consistent with catching the football.
2nd and 10. Reggie Worthy is at the bottom of the screen, the receiver. The lone back is Heath Evans. And he'll run the ball. Look at him deliver the blow on Leo Kyrus and take the senior from Maui to the 15-yard line.
Now, I want to show you something on number 87, our big guy, Robert Johnson. Now, watch Robert Johnson come from the right-hand position. He's right here. Now, watch him come inside and block. This is a football player right here. This is why this play works. Watch him. Nice low block. Boom. Makes a good block, drives the guy right back. Is that guy good or what?
Kyrus not only got the hit by Johnson, but Heath Evans went right through him as well. That was a double whammy.
Evans stays in at fullback as Ben Laird takes the first time out of the half. Tigers up 7 and in the red zone. Dr. Jerry Punch down on the sidelines. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit. And happy birthday, Chris. There you go, buddy. He's all kind of fired up. Painted his hair. Started the 2000 season for the Auburn Tigers. From birth in this state, you are Auburn or Alabama. And every game, day or night, that's all that matters. First down awaits at the 10 for the Tigers, leading 14-7. The move man is Reggie Worthy, senior receiver. And Laird's looking his way. Got away from one man, not the second, Adrian Hill, who had 1 sack last year. A penalty marker comes down. Brandon Cassavan, the sophomore, first one in, got a little bit of Ben Laird's face mask.
I think, against the offense, we have a face mask foul. Against the defense, the foul's offset. Replay, 3rd down.
That'll test Coach Vic Koning's patience a little bit there.
He is so prepared for his first ever opportunity as a head coach. We spoke to him for a half hour last night, and he talked about, well, in Bill Snyder's book, I read this. In Bear Bryant, I was rereading Bear Bryant's book. He prepared so much for, he's calling time out here before this 3rd down replay. Important spot for his team, trailing by 7. Thought he forced Auburn into a field goal situation. But instead, he'll have to face a 3rd and 4. We'll step out, come back, see what Tommy Tuberville and company do, leading by 7.
On ESPN.
Season opener for Auburn. They lead Wyoming 14-7 before 3rd and 4.
That's why they have beautiful women down here in the South. Blonde hair, blue-eyed girls. Look at them. They just grow them like that here, don't they? And they just stay around. That's a pretty little girl.
Got there.
Out of the gun to get to the 10 for the first down. Clifton Robinson in motion. He works underneath well. Heath Evans right at the line. I think it's going to be about 6 inches short.
He has that Mike Allstott hook to him, doesn't he?
Good call. Nice hands. Here, Kirk, is another situation. I would definitely go with the quarterback sneak again behind the center. Ben Nowlin. The reason is he's 306 pounds. They made it the last time. I would go until they stop me.
Plus, Wyoming's not even lined up right.
Fourth down. Sneak. First down. Flag down. Maybe all the Wyoming movement.
I don't know if Auburn was set up. There they go.
And I think with all the movement, somebody ended up in the neutral zone, lining up.
Here's a perfect picture of Ben Nowlin right there. He's 306 pounds, a sophomore. Watch him come off the ball, explode. When you do this, and he's low, see? When he comes down low, it gets his shoulder pads underneath the defensive lineman. He automatically makes the first down.
He played last season at 255 pounds.
Wow.
Talk about the work he did to get bigger over the summer. Key guy, an honor student in high school. Matter of fact, was a ESPN Scholastic Sports America high school student athlete of the week at East High School in Ponte Vedra Beach, Florida.
As bad as the University of Florida is hurting the offensive line, I bet you they would love to have that guy, wouldn't they? The Gators, the mighty Gators?
Sure.
Woo.
Wyoming forced to take a second defensive timeout. Vic Koenig was the defensive coordinator, so he's wearing these defensive snaps on his sleeve, knowing his defense has to answer the call. Down 7 with Auburn knocking on the door. First and goal. Advantage, have first and goal from the 5. Lorenzo Diamond is the tight end on the near side. A quick count. Rudy Johnson up the middle. Nothing there. Wyoming defense answered the call that time. Dr. Jerry Punch is down on the steamy sidelines.
Guys, at halftime, at the timeout a moment ago, the Wyoming Cowboy defense looked a little bit tired. They had their hands on their hips, and I realize they've been on the field for quite a while, but maybe another reason for that. Today in Laramie, Wyoming, the high temperature was 69 degrees, the humidity 40%. When we kicked it off here tonight in Auburn, the temperature was 81 degrees, the humidity 85%. And they've got a cool snap here. Last week, a week ago tonight, it was 101 degrees at 5:30.
Caught a break, but it's still sticky, Doc. Great point.
Did he say 40% humidity? I'm moving to Wyoming.
Rudy Johnson, touchdown, Auburn. Rudy Johnson knows his way to the end zone. Officially a 6-yard touchdown run. Damon Duval's extra point, 21-7. Auburn. A fumble and 3 touchdowns on their first 4 drives.
Got to be really impressed. We've been talking about it a lot, not only with Rudy Johnson's ability to run the football, but this entire offensive line. Once this gets started, it's an inside zone play. Watch how they get everybody pushed over this direction. Rudy Johnson has very good vision. Nice job in cutting back behind the blocking. And Ben Nowlin, again, another good block, pushing his nose guard all the way back into the other side of the ball.
Man scored 25 touchdowns his senior season in high school. We mentioned the 7-touchdown game to close his outstanding junior college career. And his first touchdown as an Auburn Tiger puts Vic Koenig's team in a 14-point hole.
I think Vic Koenig's a little bit surprised right now with the way this game has gone because of the way he talked last night so much about this tough mentality on the defensive side of the ball, and how that's something that he was so proud of when Al Rich made the move over from defense to offense, and Al Rich would bring that to the offensive side. He didn't have many concerns outside of the inexperience of defense, but right now it's been all Auburn offense.
Damon Duvall, who bumped heads with Tommy Tuberville a little bit last year, is not going to let his cover guys bump heads with anybody in the receiving team. Well, if you were going to be home on Saturday and you can call your cable operator or DirecTV, fire them up tomorrow on the line and get this Maximum College Football from ESPN game plan. It's awesome. You're going to see over 100 games this year, up to 10 games each Saturday on pay-per-view. Cable operator or 1-800-DirecTV for the ESPN game plan. Sit in your TV room and shut out the world for the next dozen Saturdays.
That's so many, almost as many as you and I are going to see. Yeah, Kirk, we're going to be gone, aren't we?
First and 10 from the 20. There is the aforementioned Al Rich. 4 to the 24, separated from the ground by Stanford Simmons. Let's go back to Jerry.
Michael just carrying the football, senior tailback Al Rich, who set out the previous offensive series. He took a helmet on the left rib, some bruised ribs for Al Rich. He set out. They had the freshman Armand in, but now Rich back in. A little concerned about the bruise on his left side, and also a concern about his right hand being able to grip the football. But back in the game.
Again, if you weren't with us at the top, all Mountain West Conference performer as a safety, and they moved him over to running back 19 days ago. An incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. Incomplete pass. Obviously, players see the ball. He should keep going.
Incomplete forward pass.
The advantage of that shovel pass.
If that play would have happened at the University of Nebraska, every one of those fans would have said incomplete forward pass. They're the most knowledgeable football fans I've ever coached against or seen. University of Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska. I'm telling you, they're the best.
A little pat on the back for Lincoln from out of nowhere there. I like that. That's good.
Well, Kirk likes Nebraska. I'm just setting them up for Kansas State later on in the year.
You're killing me. You're a Nebraska team, he said.
On 3rd and 6. Good work for the first down. That's the guy Herbie was talking about earlier. Malcolm Floyd, redshirt freshman, Sacramento, California. First catch.
Nice job of getting over and getting the first down. Travaris Robinson on coverage got over a little bit late, but watch the move, because if he makes the tackle right there, he's short of the first down. Gives him a little bit of an outside cut, and then he uses his size to get across the first down marker. Good play there by the young freshman.
6'6".
Big target.
Big target.
And can run. He's a 4.5 40.
Hey, people may see Travaris Robinson, SEC fans, say, isn't he an H-back? They've moved him over as the 3rd corner this year for Auburn, at least for right now. Derek Armand back in the game to the 36-yard line. That may have been the whip linebacker, the senior, Robert Payton, out of Birmingham, Alabama. Speaking of Rob Payton, good performer, 3 interceptions, sack and a half last year, and he is our Circuit City Scholar Athlete of the Week, a 3.3 grade point average in zoology. Robert Payton, our Circuit City Scholar Athlete of the Week, Lee.
Excuse me, Mike. The National Football League is looking at him as a strong safety, as a great player.
Reminds him a lot of Steve Atwater, they say.
Deflected in the air and incomplete. Stoner got his leg bent awkwardly as DeMarco McNeil took him down, but Jay looks to be okay.
Rob Pate, a name that's very familiar in the SEC because he's been around forever. He's a 4-year starter.
He's on our all Quincy Carter team.
Yes. Guys that just seem like they've been around forever. Rob Pate might be a team captain.
That's
Put
right.
him on the defensive side of the ball. But he has had some kind of an obscure injury to deal with this camp, getting ready. They really didn't know what it was. He had a muscle problem. They gave him every test in the world, and they're lucky that he's out there playing. They don't know how many snaps he'll be able to play, but they got him out there to play tonight.
You saw Matt Swanson, who threw the touchdown earlier, is back in the game. Back to lateral. Rick's got a fall on it, and he does. That's good awareness by Al Rich, who hasn't played on the offensive side of the ball for 3 years. That was a lateral. He needed to fall on that.
And if you watch this play, you see the ball being behind. If you see the official put his hand to the right, that meant it was a backward pass. If he put his hand to the left, it would have meant it was a forward pass.
It's interesting. They kind of used Swanson there as a decoy. They brought him out there, but they moved him off to the right, hoping that the defense would think, uh-oh, there's 15. Keep an eye out for him.
41.6 yards was the average last year for Tom Waring. As you see the rain beginning to fall here in eastern central Alabama. Waring almost missed the ball. On a bounce, Clifton Robinson to the 45. With field position for Auburn, they only net 28 yards after that 39-yard punt. 3 games on ESPN2. Penn State's out of the top 25 for the first time since 1992. They take on Toledo. Colorado State. You think the Buffaloes have that game circled after last year when the Rams beat them? And then Arizona, Utah. The Pac-10 against the Mountain West. Utah, the preseason pick in the Mountain West. And the Mountain West was 4-1 against the Pac-10 last year. That's the lineup, ESPN2, Saturday night. As the rain falls, Laird and the Tigers take over. Keith Evans, 1 yard to the 46. And here's Jerry again. Doc.
Well, if you think their jerseys were slippery at the beginning of the game, guess what? As you mentioned a moment ago, Mike, the rain has begun to fall rather significantly here at Jordan-Hare. A front swirling around Auburn, Alabama. We thought the tail of the front would move over about an hour before the game time, and guess what, guys? It's moved back over us, and the rain has picked up significantly. The field very, very wet, and I've got to believe those jerseys even slipperier than they were when we kicked it off.
Doc, you see any lightning down there?
Not so far. Where did Coach park, by the way?
Not so far, my friend. 2nd and 9, Rudy Johnson again. Across midfield into the 49-yard line. Well, in case you didn't hear, the Sunday Virginia Tech-Georgia Tech game was postponed because of this dangerous 3-hour electrical storm. You see that arrow there? That is Lee Corso's rental car.
Look at it. You know the funny thing about that? Herb Street is the guy that messes me up because I just picked Florida State to play Kansas State, and he started making all the people fool, right?
Yeah, the whole stadium, the Jumbotron, they get upset with you. You turned your back on the
2 minutes later, pow, and I said, whoa, I'm changing my pick. Virginia Tech. Why? God's a Hokie. I'm telling you, I don't know what a Hokie is, but God is a Hokie.
So I'm putting you down on the record, Virginia
Absolutely.
Tech.
Virginia Tech.
Okay.
3rd and 3, first down and more. Marcel Willis to the 39-yard line. Eric Lee made the tackle, but Auburn will move the chains. Well, it was good to see that this was what the rental car company gave Lee as a rental this week, knowing that there were storms in the area, knowing that this would take maybe the least financial damage for the rental car company.
Don't say anything about National Rental Car to me anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they saved me 2 o'clock in the morning. They brought a car to me.
Did they really? 2 a.m.?
Yes, sir.
That's pretty good.
I'm telling you.
Unpaid endorsement.
That ought to be worth a commercial.
Nothing for Rudy Johnson. 2nd down coming up. It's been said over and over on a serious vein with that game, but what a smart and correct decision was made for the health of the players, the safety of everyone involved. Rain is one thing, and football is played by tough guys in tough conditions. But lightning's a day. I couldn't believe people were still hanging out in the upper deck bleachers.
That's what happens when you have pregame festivities. You end up staying in the metal bleachers all evening. Well, they wouldn't leave until they finally announced that the game was called.
There's no electricity in this storm as far as we've heard up to this point. 2nd and 10 for Ben Laird. Nearly intercepted. Good coverage on the play by Sidney Lewis, the junior from Chicago, who's been picked on a little bit here tonight, but he did a nice job there defending Tim Carter.
The thing I liked about Sidney Lewis at that time, he backed up and they were playing man-to-man, and they crossed on him, but yet they had enough sense to not cross with the men, and it just played in and out, which means one man went the guy to the inside, he took the guy on the outside. Excellent play right there by Sidney Lewis.
You know, that time Ben Laird had all day to throw the football. Wyoming has to get more pressure on Ben Laird if they're going to have a chance of slowing down this Tiger offense.
Important play here. 3rd and 10. Wyoming drops a half dozen in coverage. Laird underneath, and that was almost intercepted by Jock Finn, the redshirt freshman, who made a mental mistake on the first touchdown.
That time he didn't look like Jock Cousteau. Looked like Jock Finn. It was a nice play because he was playing free in there, Kirk. He was kind of like roaming around, didn't have an assignment. Boy, nice jump on it, doesn't it?
Well, all these guys that are playing back in that secondary have very little experience. So they're kind of growing up right before our eyes. And any reps at all that they're getting just going to help them down the road.
And this is a very good passing team. First punt of the season for Auburn. Flag is down as Damon Duval kicks. And buries him back at the 5.
Wyoming had 12 men on the field there, so they're going to see if they bring this one back. Although they downed it, really good position.
Oh, illegal motion on Auburn.
And you'll see the right side of the line move too quickly. Watch the right guard and tackle. They moved back too quick.
But watch what I saw, what Herbie saw too.
Yeah, we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He didn't get off the field. 6, 7, 8, 9, and we can't see.
The guy back deep to receive.
Two guys outside of blocking the gunner.
Against the offensive line was not set at the snap. We have a substitution infraction against the defense.
There you go.
The penalty's offset. Replay, 4th down.
Save me.
Taking care. That's right.
So far, the officials have done a nice job because we haven't talked about them much. And when you get good officiating crews, you don't talk a lot about them.
Right?
They just kind of disappear. It's like a boxing guy and a referee. You never see them when a good referee.
That's right. That's true.
By the way, I like this guy. This kicker is good.
Damon Duval. Nope, not this time.
Duval's kick goes out of the end zone.
Wyoming will take over from its own 20. Important drive. They're down 14, but if they can sneak another score in before halftime, they'll feel much better at the break. That is a very early education, nighttime preschool. I'm skipping preschool.
It's dedication, my friend.
Absolutely. 21-7 the Auburn lead. Wyoming starting its 4th consecutive drive at its own 20, and Al Rich only takes it a couple of yards before the Rashad Walker tackle.
Auburn right now up by 14, closing in on the half. And look at the way Ben Laird has played in this game. He's done a nice job moving this offense, and also he's been very efficient throwing the football. You can see a comparison against Jay Stoner. You got to remember, Stoner doesn't have the big yardage because Swanson had the throw for the touchdown. But both guys have played very well so far.
The interception was the deflection by Alex Lincoln. And personnel issues as Darth Kaczynski, the fullback, was trying to run in. And Wyoming was forced to burn its final timeout.
And remember, Laird, he had that long touchdown that Daniels gave him 65 of that yards.
Timeout. Wyoming out of the Mountain West Conference, out of timeouts with 4 minutes left and a 14-point deficit. Students are on campus as they've gone to semesters here at Auburn. In the flat, and getting away is Darth Kaczynski for a first down. Good, tough run by Darth Kaczynski to the 37. When they spread the offense all over the planet in the last era of Wyoming football, they didn't have a tight end, didn't have a fullback. So they had to go yank him off the defense, and Darth Kaczynski's one of those guys.
They just slipped him out into the flat, and the one thing is when you have a free safety and Stanford Simmons trying to get out there, he gets out late. It allows the back to regain his ability to get cut back underneath and pick up some big yardage.
235 pounds. He's listed 229, but he's at least 235. Nice soft hands, too.
Run with Armand. Oh, very good balance to get across the 40. For 2nd and 7, here's Jerry.
Guys, I am very impressed with the composure and the poise on the Wyoming sideline. I mean, I think it all starts with head coach Vic Koenig. This team has played in hostile environments before. They've been to Ohio State in the Big House. They've been to Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. They're playing away. 75,000 fans streaming against them. It's raining. They're down by 2 touchdowns, but no give up whatsoever. No panic. A lot of composure here for the Cowboys.
The Horseshoe, the Plains, Neyland Stadium. They've seen them all. It's a pretty good road tour if you've been around for 4 years at Wyoming. And a first down run for Al Rich across the 45, the 47-yard line. 2:45 before halftime.
Kirk and Mike, this is a perfect example of Jay Stoner using his head. Watch, he sees an automatic right there. He sees the man, number 97, was pointing to the inside. And what happened is he called automatic. Was a great play right there.
Key block, Pat Hutchinson, junior, Englewood, Colorado. First down, 5 in the pattern. Over the middle, it's caught by Matt Swanson. Quite a first half for the junior from Boise, Idaho. He's thrown a touchdown and caught a couple of passes.
They're going to go no huddle again. Swanson is showing his athletic ability and versatility, throwing the ball, catching quite a few balls here in his first half.
In the visit down to Tennessee, he threw 21 passes coming in for an injured Jay Stoner. Stoner will move. First down, flag down.
Going to bring this one back.
There's a flag.
And it was after Stoner had kind of gotten away from the Auburn pursuers. Take it back 10. Coming up, it will be a new feature on ESPN as you watch action during the football season, all the seasons for a matter of fact. Sports Center in game. The original Core's halftime report. Stuart Scott will be in the studio. We'll have the Wisconsin story and highlights as Wisconsin struggling with Western Michigan, plus the Miami Hurricanes. Update the pennant chase and the big upset today at Flushing Meadows. So Stu Scott will have Sports Center in game. The original Core's halftime report. You are never too far away from the Sports Center if it's nighttime and you're watching ESPN. Second and 20. Swanson to the 40. They are utilizing his versatility, to say the least. He can also punt. And Auburn is stopping the clock here as Wyoming's going to face a 3rd and long. Tigers are trying to preserve some time, get their hands back on the ball.
Vic Koning's first game as a head football coach. I'm going to give him some first guess ideas right now.
Go ahead.
Please, don't throw the football outside the wide area so the guy can intercept and go all the way. Be satisfied to go in 21-7 and talk to your football team. Don't be too greedy. Take something soft, punt it, put the ball in Auburn's hand. I know that's conservative, but that's what I would do.
Make Auburn use their last time out?
Absolutely. Then punt it and let them make a mistake. Whatever he wants to do, don't go in here 28-7, because then your guys will go right in the tank and you're done.
So that's like the halftime speech to the coach before he gives his halftime speech to the players.
It's the first guess, coach. I've done a lot of times and I made a lot of mistakes. Don't throw it out wide. Guy picks it up, goes all the way. It's all over.
Late in the flat, you're done.
Oh, you're done. Don't throw it at all. Nice little draw, punt it, go home 21-7 at halftime.
You know what's interesting about Vic Koning, and we talked about how impressive he was when we chatted with him. He spent 7 years as an assistant at Memphis. Back 9 years ago, he was the strength and conditioning coach at Memphis. It's hard to believe that someone who was a strength and conditioning coach worked their way to head coach within 10 years. And that tells you that this guy has got it. And he was very impressive when we met with him yesterday. 3rd and 18. Stoner. Incomplete. The receiver slipped. They were trying to pick up the first down, but you see the danger of throwing down the middle.
Did you see those two Auburn guys?
Saw their eyes
on that ball, and it was like, yo, they were going. Each one of them were going to catch and go all the way. That was a dangerous play, boy.
Tom Waring will kick with 1:41 to go.
One thing I noticed about Tom, he's only 11 yards back. He's not very far back. Notice, Kirk?
Yeah.
Mostly guys are 14 yards back.
Fair catch signaled for and made at the 22 by Clifton Robinson. 78 yards for Auburn to go. Rudy Johnson set to take the field with the Auburn offense. 57 yards on 15 carries for Johnson. Remember, this is an Auburn offense that averaged, as a team, 68 yards per game last year. This would be an upgrade.
Also, one good thing about it, we talked about it, only one fumble. Pretty good for all those carries in his first game and only missing it once, Kurt.
79 yards to go. Now run it with Johnson. Get nothing. Remember, Wyoming cannot stop the clock. We told you Sports Center in game is on the way with Stu Scott. Let's check in what Stu will have. Stuart.
Mike, coming up at halftime on Sports Center in game, bad news for the Badgers program. We'll fill you in on their suspensions. Tennis, Andre Agassi, top seed. He's never lost in the second round. We'll find out if that holds up. and a big trade in the AL East. All that and more coming up on SportsCenter in Game. Mike?
Okay, Stu, see you in a few.
If Wisconsin's able to get out of this game tonight with a victory, you have to believe those suspensions could catch up to them against the Oregon Ducks. That's a talented football team.
That's their next game in 9 days. Laird letting long for Tim Carter. He got it at the 40. That's 38 yards.
We talked about earlier in the show that this kid, Tim Carter from St. Petersburg, Florida, is the fastest football player on the Auburn team. He gets good position, but I like the way Laird threw the ball on the inside. Didn't you, Kurt?
Yeah, Ben Laird told us that the cornerbacks from Wyoming play outside techniques, so they're going to try to throw that fade route a little bit more inside. Perfect that time.
Now the mindset changes. Attack. Put more points on the board. Laird looking for one of his talented receivers, nearly intercepted. Ronnie Daniels was the intended receiver. Eric Lee had good coverage.
You know, that's going to be a difference this year with this Auburn attack. Not only are they bigger up front, more experienced, understand the system, they have now a talented running back, they have an experienced quarterback, but they also have a boatload of receivers. It's not just Ronnie Daniels. These guys can spread it around.
And they have a game breaker, DeAndre Green, who's sitting out a one-game suspension.
Could be the best one of them all.
Eric Lee was too close coverage that time. I'd go over the top.
Laird got away from the pressure and forced one toward Ronnie Daniels.
When we sat down with offensive coordinator Noel Mazzoni yesterday, he talked about how it hurt him a little bit, his pride a little bit, to have to go back and go to a little bit more of an offensive game plan where you're going to be attacking by running the football, 2 tight ends, 2 backs. He said he likes to get into the 4 wide receiver sets, but he said realistically the personnel now fits kind of what they were doing at Ole Miss. They like to get into that more conventional system.
Noel was also the quarterback coach in Minnesota. Minnesota, Ole Miss, and here got a good resume for a head coaching position someday.
And has the personality to go with it as well. 3rd and 10. Did he ever have protection? Yes, he did. First down. Nice grab. Clifton Robinson at the 28-yard line. 19 seconds. 1 timeout left.
One thing we learned about Damon Duvall is they're well within his range already. Look at the concentration here by Robinson. He lost that ball after he got hit.
Clock has restarted after the first down. They let 10 seconds get away before the snap. They may not get another playoff. Laird does go down.
They're called timeout.
Gets the timeout with 1 second remaining. And from here, it's going to be a 56-yard field goal.
This will be fun. This will be fun to see if he can do this.
I wouldn't do it. Absolutely not. You got a chance of having it blocked and having to pick it up and go and score. I would not do it. I'd put in number 87 or Daniel, and I'd run him down to the corner, and I have a jump ball in the end zone. That's what I would do.
You're the most conservative coach. I mean, you were a gambler. You were a gambler, man.
I am also.
When it's somebody else, you're.
No, I'm not stupid. Let me tell you something. You line up and try to get 3 more points, and you could give them a chance to block it and go all the way with it.
I understand that. I understand that. But every time you got into the situation, you pull your horns in and get.
No, most of the time, I always had what I called Plan B.
Yeah.
Now, Plan A is to do what the alumni wants.
Okay.
And that's kicking. You know, his favorite story was on punt. On 4th down, before the...
Go for it.
Go for it. Go. You go for it, not make it. He said, God, that guy is stupid. I told you he should have punted.
And Plan B is the JS plan, the job save plan.
Job save. I'm the only guy in America. I'm the only guy in America to win 2 JS games in a row and still get fired. Now, that really hurt me.
You saw Damon Duvall has not kicked a 50-yard field goal. He didn't attempt one last year. He has attempted one in the past. And this is a vintage Tommy Tuberville move. If you watched him at Ole Miss when he played Georgia a few years ago, he wouldn't show his hand until the last second.
Right. They're gonna go for the field goal here. And now, just for people at home, you and I were on the field before the game, and Duvall hit 2 60-yarders. That was in warm-ups, but he has plenty of leg strength.
This is 52 yards in the final play of the half. Barring a flag. Long enough.
Look at that game.
But why?
Never had a chance.
That would have been good from 65. You kidding me?
Never had a chance.
Explosive on offense. Auburn leads 21-7. Vic Koning's team could have been in more trouble. Now SportsCenter in-game Original Coors halftime report. And here's Stu Scott in the studio. Stu. And a Tech. They are more than halfway there at the half. 287 yards and 8.2 yards per play.
Big number there. We talk so much about them trying to run the football, but if you look at the passing yards, 228 yards, they've taken advantage of the inexperience in Wyoming secondary, and when they have seen man-to-man, they've gone right after it.
Vic Koning's team will get the ball to start the second half. Damon Duval has not let Wyoming come close to a kickoff return thus far. Staying dry. Another touchback. Wyoming will start a fifth consecutive drive at the 20. Seeing the key portions of the first half, let's check the Home Depot coaching adjustments. Coach Corso.
First of all, gentlemen, I was always taught inside the 1 yard line, you run a quarterback sneak because you got a 300-pound center and you can make it. Now, what happens here, if you don't run it, make sure you leave a lead blocker. The lead blocker picks up the scrape linebacker and allows you to score. That was a 14-point swing. They didn't score. Auburn went the length of the field and scored 14 points. And you know what? That's the difference in the score right now.
That was Wyoming's first drive. After an Auburn turnover, they were going in for 7-0. They turned it over. Auburn scored to take an early advantage. A toss to Matt Swanson, the reserve quarterback who threw the touchdown earlier and caught 3 passes in that first 30 minutes as well. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, at halftime in the Wyoming locker room, first-year head coach Vic Koning, very impressive. He talked about the fact that a year ago they were embarrassed at Tennessee in the first half. They came out in the second half and shut Tennessee down for except for 30 seconds. They shut them down. He talked about what it was going to take to win tonight, and I'll finish in just a moment. Michael?
All right, Doc, 2nd and 6 as they go no huddle. 4 receivers. And quarterback Jay Stoner with some pressure. Oh, how did he get away and make it a positive play? Reggie Torbor was all set for a sack, but Stoner made it past the line of scrimmage. Let's go back to Jerry to finish the thought.
Just prior to leaving the locker room, Vic Koning held up Paul Bear Bryant's book that says, I ain't never been nothing but a winner. He said, in this book right here, it says, if you can come from behind in 2 touchdowns in the second half, that proves your poise, your perseverance, your class. Guys, we're going to prove it tonight. He held up Paul Bear Bryant's book and led him out of the locker room.
Some of that extra effort shown by Stoner. 3rd and 4. It's against the Tigers. It's a first down. Only 3 penalties, not bad for the first game of the season.
We'll take that.
2 Wyoming, 1 Auburn in the first 30. It was on Wyoming. I think Vic's figuring out the whole thing, too, about the head coaching responsibilities. Lee, is it different during a game when you take over as a head coach for the first time?
Let me tell you the difference between the head coach and everybody else. Strategy and tactics. Strategy you do all week. Tactics is what you do during a game. That's the great coaches. What happens when you're 21-7 and how you keep the composure.
And you can't simulate that.
No, sir. You'll never get trained for that, Mike.
3rd and 9. Pressure. Incomplete. DeMarco McNeil was coming. And the redshirt freshman from Pritchard, Alabama, forced Stoner to get rid of it and forced Wyoming to punt.
What's most impressive here about Auburn's pressure is they rushed with 4, dropped 7. That was not a situation when they brought 8 guys, 7 or 8 guys. They were able to play zone behind it, and Jay Stoner didn't have anybody open.
Tom Waring to kick to Clifton Robinson. That short distance from the center to the kicker has brought Auburn close to the ball. Robinson on a run. the 37 and a flag. John Wilson made the hit, and Vic would like a word with someone.
I'll guarantee he wants to talk to the two outside men who are going down. Finn and Jackson, they both went to the inside and allowed the guy to get to the outside. That's what happened.
They'll get a break with the push in the back. Roger Redding's microphone is out. So much has gone well for Wyoming in their summer and their fall camp. Vic Koenig was telling us how the plan has worked so far to perfection. They were prepared mentally and physically as best they could be coming into tonight, but they still had lots of questions because so many players had not played in the heat of pressure, especially against a talented team like Auburn. Ben Laird back at it. Rudy Johnson runs left. The block thrown by Lorenzo Simon. Gets Johnson 7 yards. Sophomore, Biloxi, Mississippi, the other tight end.
Okay, you want to take a look at number 49, Lorenzo Diamond. He's a tight end, but he's off the ball right there. You're going to watch him come across there.
Lead on a counterplay.
A counterplay. Nice design there. And there he comes right there. Boom. Nice cut block. Nice play. I like the way that Auburn's offense seems to be moving inside, outside, quick pass. Don't you, Kirk?
Yeah, it's got a real good feel to it, and nice flow. It was interesting how usually you see the tackle with the counter. When they bring the big tackle, this time that they use the tight end.
Johnson left again. Pete Evans out the block. Couple of yards, 3rd and 1. The hit by Lamar James. Jerry Punch on Auburn's halftime.
Tommy Tuberville at halftime in the Auburn locker room. Despite the 21 points, not happy at all with the inconsistency of the running game in the first half and very concerned about the poor decisions made by Ben Laird in the second quarter. He wants to get his quarterback, despite the fact they're moving the football and putting points on the board, get him ready for what's coming up down the road. 9 days away, Ole Miss, and a very tough SEC conference battle.
In Oxford, you'll see that game on ESPN2 a week from Saturday. And be around the TV for that one. That's going to be a good game. 3rd and 1, sneak first down. That's the 3rd time tonight we've seen that.
Tommy Tuberville and I must have read the right book.
Same book.
Same book.
Yep.
40 years ago, you learned to run a quarterback sneak with less than a yard, and he's run it 3 times today and made it every single time.
I think they're averaging about 4 yards on a quarterback sneak tonight. They're picking up big yardage.
Tommy.
I'm sorry, Mike. Remember they said last year they struggled in 3rd and short, 4th and short, and it looks like they went back to the book you're talking about and said, we're going to the quarterback sneak.
On 1st and 10. Couple of tight ends and Rudy Johnson right. To the 32. If you were not with us in the beginning of the show, the Auburn run game was terrible last year. They were worst in the country with 1.9 yards per carry, 3rd worst in the nation at 68 yards per game. Tonight, with still 26 minutes to go, they have 75 rushing yards.
Very big for this team, and as far as it was one thing to be effective in camp, but to finally see another colored jersey and to be able to try to run the football, and we heard so much about Rudy Johnson, and to see him out there carrying the football, you got to think that they're mentally beginning to take advantage of Wyoming right now, and also because of the lack of depth.
Johnson hit by Patrick Chikora, who's required. Actually, it's Cassinius Moore, I beg your pardon, the redshirt freshman in the game. Chikora, the senior, made the tackle. The cynic is going to say, yeah, they're running the ball against Wyoming, which, granted, is not going to be an SEC defense.
It's not Alabama.
That's right. So the cynic's going to say, I'm not ready to say Auburn can run the ball in 2000.
Well, I think that you're probably right. You're going to hear that out there, but it's one step at a time for an Auburn offense.
Baby steps.
That's right.
3rd and 5. They need to get to the 26.
The ball's loose. Nope, they called it off.
Finally called it incomplete. The Wyoming guys can't believe it.
If you notice from up here, doesn't it seem like this Wyoming team is a little quicker now? They're really moving quickly to the ball and hitting.
Yes.
I'm telling you, it looks like whatever he told them in halftime, Vic Koenig, that the football team is reacting quicker to the plays than ever. Never had full control of it, therefore it wasn't a completed pass.
They will try a 48-yard field goal with Damon Duval, who missed on the final play of the half from over 50.
See if we can hear this boom that comes off his leg when he hits the ball. He'll make one sooner or later, but he's kicking them. He's kicking them with plenty of delay.
Okay, one thing about it, remember, the guy's also the punter. Anytime you've got a guy that's a punter and a place kicker, one of those things is going to suffer. And right now it looks like the field goal kicking has suffered.
Missed from 52, missed from 48. Timeout. The Auburn band taking the timeout to get the fans fired up here at Jordan-Hare. A crowd of 76,128.
On a Thursday night.
Very impressive.
It ought to tell those other schools out there to play more on Thursday night.
Football fans will show up. Al Rick, not much. Dontarius Thomas, redshirt freshman, Perry, Georgia. First time we called 54's number.
I like the speed of the front seven of Auburn, the potential. A lot of inexperience up there, but you can see the legs and how they're rotating a lot of bodies to try to keep everybody fresh. Hot, humid night like this, important to try to take advantage of your depth. They've done that. They've done a good job of that tonight.
After a loss of 2, 2nd and 12. Stoner wrapped up as he threw, and it was caught. Nope, incomplete, says the line judge on the near side. Pass intended for the redshirt freshman, Ryan McGuffey. Thursday Night Football, our season premiere here on ESPN. Mike Tirico, Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Dr. Jerry Punch from the plains of Alabama, Auburn, Alabama, where Wyoming has challenged another college football heavyweight. The Cowboys looking to make a name for themselves. Falling behind 14-0 early, even since then, 21-7. Second drive for the Cowboys, 3rd and 12. Wins! See it! Thomas again! The only SEC coach that recruited him was Eddie Fogler, South Carolina's hoop coach.
They're going to come right up the middle with the blitz, and they've been very selective on when they would blitz. They told us that yesterday in the meeting that because of the youth, they're going to be kind of conservative when it came to the blitz package. And there, Thomas came clean, and he's got plenty of speed to bring Jay Stoner down.
Clifton Robinson's getting close to making something happen on a punt. Be careful here. Best kick of the night. From the 30. Needs 2 blocks. Won't get him. Too many white shirts. Down at the 45. The punt was 50. The return was 16 forward. Vic Koenig saying, can I get a call here on the road? Dontarius Thomas obviously got a recruiting call from one SEC football coach. Wearing the blue and the orange from Auburn. Universities in the U.S. News and World Report academic rankings. Although it was very nice of Lee to save the U.S. News and World Reports from the summer and bring them to me for some light reading to start the season. From the 44, Ben Laird with tons of time. Not anymore. That is Patrick Chikura, the senior. Jerry Punch just told us during the timeout that he was a wild man in the locker room at halftime. The senior trying to fire up the defense, did his talking with his play here.
This time, Ben Laird predetermined on this before the snap where he was going to go. He wanted Daniels deep. Look how open he has the tight end diamond. He also had another receiver underneath, but he was eyeing Ronnie Daniels the entire time. He just happened to be double covered deep.
Jay Stoner hopes the defense can make a big play and give them good field position. See if they can hold them. 2nd and 20. 4 receivers. And Johnson in the pattern as well. Richie Worthy. good hit by Leo Kyrus
Number 4, Reggie Worthy.
after a pickup of about 8.5. Worthy is Ben Laird's senior receiver. Laird's a senior as well.
Watch this hit here that Ben Laird takes by Chuck Wara, closing in on him. Boom! Comes right through, and that's a big body right there. That quarterback is a big target. Chuck Wara, really the first time we called his name as far as getting after the quarterback. Last year he led the Cowboys with sacks with 9.
See his career total now. 3rd and a dozen. They brought pressure and bring down Laird. And that was a pretty good Patrick Chakura drive. He hit 14 on all 3 snaps.
Coach mentioned this last time. You're right. Cowboys are playing a little bit of defense here in the second half.
Jerry, you were telling us during the break about how number 2 was letting it be heard in the locker room.
Incredible at halftime. Patrick Chakura challenged his teammates, went player to player, helmet to helmet, said, guys, this is the adversity we knew was coming. How do we react? Do we stand up and face it, or do we walk away? We have got to face it here in the second half.
And he is doing the talking with his play. The thunder-footed Damon Duval kicks it away. Wow.
Kick goes into the end zone for the touchdown for 55.
One thing about Duval, he's missing field goals, but he's still a great punter. He was second in the SEC last year as a freshman. If they signed a guy named Philip Yost, wasn't it supposed to be the world's greatest kicker?
Right there.
5 blocks away from here or something. Needs to get a haircut. Once he gets a haircut, he should be the good kicker. But he has done nothing since he's been here, and they got to use right there. Look, you can tell he's a freshman, but tell him those days are out.
It looks like your team out west.
Oh, yeah, like I surf for UCLA.
So nice to be back with you two. From the 20-yard line. Oh my goodness, he's getting up. He's okay. Rashard Gilliard. Wow. We're not saying. You watch, you listen.
It's nothing like getting your helmet knocked off and us playing it back twice.
And Brock Ralph is still out here at the bottom of your screen.
Tough guy.
2nd and 10. Starter!
I'm telling you right now that this Auburn front, because of the way they're able to move guys in and out. Don't forget, at the beginning of the game, Reggie Torber started, but they moved different guys in. Alton Moore, Javar Mills, they keep them fresh here off of play action. Look at the speed of that defensive line getting in there, and also number 92 getting in there and putting pressure to Mark O'Neal.
3rd and 20. Brock Ralph is still in. They're getting loud.
Right in front of that student body.
Al Rich. 4th down. Pretty good stretch for the Tiger defense.
Both teams have cranked it up here in the second half on the defensive side of the ball.
Wyoming this quarter, 3 possessions, 3 3-and-outs. Tom Waring's punt. 37 yards. Clifton Robinson don't exactly know what that was. But it gets it into Cowboy territory. It will be Auburn ball at the 43. The defense is being heard here in the 3rd ball weekend. 2 games on ESPN Saturday, 3 games Saturday night. on ESPN2 Saturday afternoon and night. The sights and sounds and smells of the college football season, and then the NFL kicks into gear Sunday and Monday as well. Here it's Auburn by 14. All the scoring in the first half. Rudy Johnson adding to his 71-yard rushing total with about 7 there. ABC has college football this weekend as well. It's a doubleheader. It's 2 games, I should say. Most of you will see number 3 Alabama in their trip out west to the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. Some of you will see BYU take on Virginia. College football Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC. Your home for the Bowl Championship Series. 2nd and 5. Johnson again. Carrying the load, that's for sure. This is making a lot of the Auburn fans happy just to see a little bit of a commitment to running the ball.
You know, he's well over 20 carries at this point, and the last time Auburn had a back, one back carried the ball 30 times in a game. Got to go back to 1994 against Georgia. Wow. Stephen Davis carried the ball 32 times. So he's the prototypical Auburn type of back who can carry the load and not get tired.
1st and 10.
Run!
Rudy Johnson! Touchdown! What were they saying there?
Rudy.
Run!
Damon Duval adds the extra point. Well, you can't spell Auburn without an R-U-N. And they put the run back in Auburn thus far tonight. Dr. Jerry Punch has a happy gentleman.
Well, I'm with Hartwell, Georgia's Bill Leard, who is the father of Auburn senior quarterback Ben Leard. And Bill, probably no one any happier than your son to see a guy named Rudy Johnson come on board to take some of the pressure off. What an impressive running back.
Yes, he's really glad he's here. He's really done a great job. And with him and Heath in the backfield, I think it's going to ease up the pressure on Ben a lot this year.
And Ben said yesterday when he told you, I don't care if I throw a pass or not. As long as we can run the football and we win, that's all that's important.
That's all. Ben just wants the team to do well. He's not concerned about himself other than just win this first game and taking each one at a stride. And we asked him about we're going to throw the ball a lot. He said he didn't care to do anything. He just wanted to run the win.
How has Ben different in this opener than he was a year ago here with his new staff?
I think he feels a lot more pressure on him this year because of just, knowing he's the main one when he walked in. Last year, he knew he'd get the chance, but he didn't know if it was going to be that first game or not.
All right. A couple of years ago, there was a lot of ridicule and some concern about quarterback Ben Leard. This year is going to be fun for Bill Leard and the entire Leard family making that 4-hour drive from Georgia to watch the senior season.
Sure will, Doc. Last year, Ben Leard came off the bench in the opener to throw the game-winning touchdown against Appalachian State. Another Damon Duval touchback. We'll start it at the 20. Rudy Johnson's running the entire drive for the Auburn Tigers, and the touchdown put Rudy over 100 yards, his second touchdown of the night.
Now for David Cutcliffe and anybody else who's going to prepare to stop Auburn's attack, not only is it Rudy Johnson, but it's the way they're doing it, inside zone. And then how many times have we seen the counters? They're either pulling a guard, pulling a tackle, a tight end, a running back from the backside to lead the way for Rudy Johnson. It's been very effective tonight. But they're showing a variety of looks and doing the same thing.
Seventh Wyoming drive starting from the 20. Little contact downfield. That will be a flag on Auburn. Auburn coaches are trying to say uncatchable, but they were jostling the receiver on the way down. Larry Casher may be the guilty party.
Defense take that ball away. Field. Red ball. Defense take that ball away.
Tommy Tuberville's team has not been penalized too much tonight. They'll pick up their third here. So Wyoming will get a break going in their favor and get off the 20-yard line. It's their first down here in the third quarter. From the 35, a 5-yard loss. They're so quick, so goodness. Spencer Johnson, third string, made that play. Sunday Night Football coverage begins with NFL Primetime, presented by Miller Lite at 7:30 Eastern, and then Eddie George and some people think the team to beat in the AFC. The Tennessee Titans take on the Buffalo Bills. Monday Night Football has Kurt Warner and the Rams taking on the Denver Broncos, the last two champs in the National Football League. Go head-to-head. The Primetime Football on ABC and ESPN starts for real this weekend. Stoner swing to Al Rich, upended at the 35-yard line by, once again, Larry Casher. Auburn secondary, linebackers, defensive line, all stepping up in this half.
They are flying for the football. And it's almost like they're picking up more momentum as this game goes on. And I think they could, kind of like piranhas, they're seeing blood in the water, and they're moving faster and faster and getting hungrier, I think. Gaining more confidence.
Wyoming needs something positive to happen. They have 11 yards all quarter. What a pass rush. Incomplete pass. That's a little bit of the miscommunication with Al Rich. Again, first team All Mountain West safety, starting running back now.
The problem Wyoming has with the score 28-7 is all those defensive linemen from Auburn are just putting their head back and just flying after the quarterback, playing pass rush all the time. They've got to go back to a basic attack and a few draws, a little screen, keep the pressure off of Jay Stoner, or they'll never get anything going.
And now the rotation of Auburn defensive linemen is working in the favor of the Tigers as well. Tom Waring's fourth punt of the quarter. Clifton Robinson keeps coming close to a good return. This one is very high in the air. It takes a Wyoming bounce. To be down to the 22-yard line by Jacques Finn. Guys, we talk about Wyoming playing all these places. Down in Georgia, between the hedges, Tennessee. They traded a home game with Tennessee and are going to play that in Nashville in 2002. They go everywhere to play everyone. Why do something like that?
Money. They make more money in one game here than they do the entire season in Laramie, Wyoming. And this is a business. College football is a business, and that's why Lee Moon is such a good athletic director and rumored to go someplace else. The guy's smart. He makes money.
North Carolina State has been publicly reported as talking to Lee Moon about their vacant athletic director job.
There's that counter again.
Rudy Johnson.
Not this time.
Good pursuit to the ball by the Wyoming defense.
The other reason they played outside of monetary reasons is because respect. They're trying to get on the map and be recognized as a team like BYU. People hear BYU and they respect BYU because BYU over the last 15 or 20 years they've played some big-time teams in college football, and I think Wyoming, they're trying to get the same credibility.
The problem with Wyoming is they're not winning any of these games. BYU goes out of the league and beats somebody. Remember when they beat that great Miami team?
Yep.
And they beat other football teams. So Wyoming's problem is they're making a lot of money and they're getting a lot of national press, but none of it's any good.
They're playing hard and they're coming close, but they're not winning the game.
Can't win it.
The people who play them walk away with respect, more respect for Wyoming than they had just for the name of the school by itself. That should do it for the quarter as Heath Evans carries it into the middle of the line. Auburn will face third and about 14 when our fourth quarter gets going here in East Central Alabama. After 3, the story continues to be Auburn up front. Defensively, they hit, they put the pressure on. They're going to go into the fourth quarter with a lead. So many outstanding physical hits in that third quarter for the Tiger D. And Rudy Johnson's second touchdown run as Auburn up 21 on Thursday Night Football. From Auburn, Alabama, the Tigers lead the Cowboys 28-7.
At the 18.
Auburn facing 3rd and 14 to start the fourth. They led 14-7 after one and have added touchdowns in the second and third quarter. Laird out of the pocket. First down. Nice job by Reggie Worthy to come back for the ball and then get the first down. Right at the end of the third quarter, Jerry Punch with the Wyoming head coach Vic Koenig.
Hey, Coach, despite the numbers on the scoreboard, you got to be pleased with what you've seen with your young football team, particularly in the second half. The effort, the poise, the composure.
Well, I appreciate you drawing positive. That's what we're going to have to do after the game. We can't keep playing on, our side of the 50 the whole second half. We've got to change the field position. To do that, we've got to get some first downs. Secondary's hanging in there, and our three safeties out right now, so we're just kind of a little bit of a scramble drill. But our guys are trying as hard as they can do, and our coaches coach as hard as they can coach. So we're not going to take any more victories, and this game ain't over yet.
Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
Vic Koenig after the final play of the third quarter. Auburn on the first play of the fourth picked up a first down and takes a timeout. Step away as well. Tigers by 21. They are holding outside hopes of a postseason berth and have to be happy with what they've seen thus far on opening night, leading 28-7. First down, big toss, Tim Carter came back, incomplete, but the flag came down with Lamar James in coverage. James and Sidney Lewis over there on the speedster Carter. Carter, who ran a 10.39 in the 100 meters in the Southeastern Conference Track Championships.
Look at the separation right away from Sidney Lewis. If Ben Laird would have been able to throw that football on time and led Carter's walking into the end zone. He's got incredible speed, and Lee, you mentioned it earlier, fastest player on the Auburn team.
The problem with the junior college defensive backs that Wyoming has right now is that they've never seen this kind of speed against them. The junior college kids are pretty good football players, but they're not like Carter. I'm telling you, they're not like Daniels, and that's what's happening to them. They're pretty good players, doing a halfway decent job. They just never seen anything like this before.
10.39 in the 100.
Oh.
That's getting after it.
Picking them up and putting them down. Actually, they don't even come down. They just glide over the top of the surface. Look at Appalachian State beating Wake Forest. Wow. You watch the scores go by as Rudy Johnson's replacement, Cassinius Moore, gains a couple, and here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Guys, commenting on what Coach Corso was saying a moment ago. With Coach at halftime, that's exactly what Vic Koenig said about the young defensive backs, meaning young in Division I play. We're talking about junior college transfers from secondary. In this first game, some of those JUCO secondary players have reverted to bad habits. They've had some missed assignments, some blown coverages, being on the inside instead of the outside shoulder. Problems like that have cost them, but they'll get better as the year progresses.
Wyoming has a very tough test in 9 days. They play at Texas A&M. Laird's going to get hit. Shakura brought him down for the sack.
One thing about when you play Texas A&M, though, you don't have to worry about those wideouts running down the field. You better watch out for your mouth. They're going to hit you right in the mouth. Pow! And they're not going to beat you with the passing game. So those defensive backs ought to practice tackling practice when they go against Texas A&M.
And Shamar Toombs had a great camp. Dropped some weight, you're right. They're going to run the ball right at him.
Two tough road games to start for the Cowboys, who are picked 5th or 6th in the Mountain West this year. Utah, the conference favorite. San Diego State currently playing Arizona State over on ESPN2. And Laird forced to burn a second timeout on this drive. He's not happy. His receivers, who are overmatching the Wyoming DBs for some big plays. Need one here, needing to get all the way to the Cowboy 40 for a first down. Wyoming rushes 4. Lears fires. It should be, well, it is called a catch, but it's 5 yards shy of the first down. But they're going to wave it as incomplete. Jarris McIntyre, the freshman, with his first grab. 5 short of the first down.
Good. Laird really is in rhythm tonight, throwing the football nicely. There, even though they came up a little bit short, they picked up a big gain, and he threw the football right on time.
You like his release?
Yeah. Tonight it looks flawless. And early last year, before he had the injury, he's had a great last year and a half.
Remember, he was 5-1 as a starter last year.
Games he finished. Damien Duval kicked. Again bounced it on the 1, and that is a touchback. Once the ball bounces across the plane of the goal line, it becomes touchback. Next Thursday night, we go to Greenville, North Carolina, on the campus of East Carolina to see Michael Vick and number 10 Virginia Tech take on the Pirates of East Carolina. Steve Logan's team is going to see what Clemson and Syracuse and Miami and a whole bunch of other people, including the Seminoles, saw. Number 7 doing special things.
And I think they're going to be ready. Playing at home.
ECU.
They will be ready to play.
Just about to add as a final thought to that, Mr. Vick's going to see some purple shirts there, too.
He sure is.
East Carolina always well prepared. They play Duke to start their 2000 season on Saturday in Durham. Armah with the catch for Wyoming as they move it on first down. Of course, Virginia Tech's game against Georgia Tech was the Lightning game we referred to earlier, was canceled and will not be replayed. They agreed on the December 1st date, but Georgia Tech chose not to play on that date. So the season opener for Virginia Tech is their game against Akron on Saturday. 2nd and 5. Trying to set up the screen, but it was broken up right away. The pressure by Marcus White grabs your attention a little bit. Just good pressure by the Auburn defense, and Whit Smith kept the recovered receiver not an option.
Well, they had pressure on Stoner at the bottom of the screen. Watch number 42, Whit Smith. He stays with the back the entire time, and there was no way Nate Scott was going to get open. Good decision to throw that ball away by Stoner.
Wyoming's only first down this half came via penalty. Their yardage total this half is -6. Their yardage total is -13. Auburn pinning ears back and coming after them.
You ever get that feeling it's just coming from every direction? I mean, they've had probably 6 or 7 different bodies in the backfield rushing the passer and pressuring the passer this second half.
That was Tavarius Pounds and Reggie Torborg.
As I said before, the problem is they have they're not worried about the draw or the screen at all. Especially run some draws, keep that pressure off that kid.
Good kick by Ware. Beautiful kick. That's 55 yards plus. Now it'll be 60. Taken at the 20 by Clifton Robinson. Pulled down at the 28. 61 will be the official punt yardage. As open field tackle by John Wilton. Auburn leads by 21. Sports Center follows us. You know the old TV show, Different Worlds? Well, these two schools, from football standpoints, come from different worlds. Wyoming is twice the size of Alabama. There are 10 times as many people in Alabama as there are in Wyoming. 12 NCAA 1AA 2 or 3 schools, 1 in Wyoming. Drastically different football worlds for these two schools. Auburn leading by 21. New quarterback in the game, Daniel Cobb, the junior out of Marietta, Georgia, replaces Ben Leard. Cobb is the backup for the moment as Jeff Klein continues to rehab his knee injury from the spring. You see Cobb, a junior college transfer, signed with Georgia back in 1996. Leard now watches. Daniel Cobb had a couple of years of circulation problems, blood clots. Finally got medical clearance and led Butler to a national title in '99. Turned 22 earlier this month and is seeing his first snaps as the Auburn quarterback. That's Ronnie Brown's first carry as an Auburn Tiger, and he didn't want it to end. freshman, Cartersville, Georgia.
We're going to take a chance here and take a look at Pat Dye. Pat Dye was a head football coach at Wyoming and Auburn. And this September, he'll be inducted to the Tiger Trail. Now, what the Tiger Trail is, I went down to Toomer's Corners, and they have stars along the walk, like the Hollywood stars.
Right.
And he's going to get his name in a star down by Toomer's Corner. What a great honor that is for Pat Dye. He deserves it.
We saw Coach Dye at Wyoming's practice last night. Old Wyoming coach. Cobb's pass is incomplete. Coach Dye is he's here tonight. He kind of hides around he doesn't sit out with the fans, obviously. He hides up in the press level. He was down in the field earlier before the game.
Remember how he's telling us about...
Yeah, interesting story.
He was a great storyteller, and he was telling us about why he had to leave Auburn.
Right.
And they talk about all kinds of scandals. He said, I tell you why I had to leave Auburn. Alabama beat me 3 times in a row. It was time for me to move on, didn't he?
How about when he left Wyoming and almost he almost had the Georgia job,
right?
But ended up coming to Auburn.
He told us that story last night.
That was an incredible story. How Vince Dooley almost left Georgia to come to Auburn,
right?
And right at the last minute, he stuck at Georgia, and they said Auburn's job's open, and he ended up quitting his Wyoming job before he actually got hired here at Auburn.
He said he went Christmas with no job. 3 weeks in the interim there. Pat Dye said that he went back to an Auburn practice on Wednesday. It was the first time that he's been at practice since he was no longer the head coach. And he said that's the toughest part. He's come to games and sat in the stand or in the press level in one of the boxes. Coming to the games is not the emotional problem. It's being at practice when he misses it. First down pass by Jay Stoner is incomplete. We mentioned Dye for 1 year at Wyoming. Wyoming is really a cradle of coaches, a stepping stone for so many people. Look at those names, coaches who were at Wyoming and moved on to great accomplishments.
Bob Devaney and Dennis Erickson, between them, won 4 national titles. Pretty good.
Very good. Joe Tiller actually was the man as Vic Koenig replaced Dana Dimmel, who's now in Houston. Joe Tiller recruited the quarterback here, Jay Stoner. And when Tiller left for Purdue, Stoner almost thought of going and following Tiller. That's why you root for Jay Stoner, because he has seen so many different offenses, coordinators, change personnel, being yanked in and out of the starting job. Now he's got the starting job. He's got the support of the coach, an offense that will work for his talents. You root for a guy like this to have a good senior season.
There's an article in Sports Illustrated that said he's had 1 girlfriend, 1 car, and 4 offensive coordinators.
Third down throw is incomplete. Jerry Punch.
Guys, you're talking about Jay Stoner and what support he has had from his family out in Laramie, Wyoming. His mom and dad, Vicki and Jeff Stoner, have come to every single ball game, even when he was not playing. All the years he's been at Wyoming, they missed 1 game, what they call the blizzard of SMU. They couldn't get to SMU back in October of 1997. Otherwise, they have been to every ball game. They are here tonight, sitting in the stands. Mom, Vicki, Dad, Jeff, and sister, Rachel.
Jeff is a pharmacist in Colorado Springs. I think they'll have some good, enjoyable Wyoming games for their son's senior season as they get into the Mountain West schedule. Burns punt is down at the 16-yard line. Roderick Jackson put to rest a 47-yard kick. 8-11. Sports Center comes up as soon as we're done. 35 points. Quit, to say the least. They've been aggressive on defense, but can't do anything against the Auburn offense. Leard to Daniels early. Put Wyoming in a hole that they've never been able to climb out of. 14-7 after 1, 21-7 at the half, and 28-7 about midway through here, 4th quarter. Daniel Cobb overthrows Richie Worthy.
Well, one of the stars of the game that Kirk talked about before the game was number 32, Rudy Johnson. Now, watch how fundamentally he's sound. He's running the ball to the left. He holds the ball in his left hand. Watch, he runs another one to the left with his left hand. But when he goes to the right for this touchdown, he has it in his right hand. Now, to me, those are the little things you don't coach. The kid has been fundamentally well coached in junior college, and he's going to be a tremendous football player right here.
The thing I like about him is his power. You can see the arm tackles. That's not enough to bring him down. And also, he carried the ball 23 times, and he stayed fresh. And that's going to be key in the SEC.
Only one fumble.
Ronnie Brown lost it as he was fighting for the extra yards, and Wyoming has it at the 11. Ronnie Brown just trying to fight for that extra yard, lost it. And Wyoming will take over in the red zone. Chance to get closer as they trail here by 21.
You guys see who made that play?
Chuck Wera.
Chuck Wera, number 2. That tell you what, that kid is a football player from Irving, Texas, 6'2", 238. And I tell you what, he is a tremendous football player for Wyoming.
Good to see him a couple more times this year, as we'll see Wyoming on Thursday night.
Never gives up. He just keeps coming.
He's a good one.
See the Cowboys play at BYU and at Colorado State. The old bronze boot battle to wrap up the season in Fort Collins. That's going to be a great trip in November. First and 10 from the 12. Stoner. Caught the touchdown for Ryan McGuffey. That's the first career touchdown for the redshirt freshman from Riverton, Wyoming. And mom and dad's trip worthwhile. They see their son's first touchdown pass of his senior season. That's one of the two guys. Malcolm Floyd, McGuffey, and Brock Ralph. Ralph is the returner. McGuffey and Floyd, both redshirt freshmen, and Wyoming needs the receiver depth. Aaron Elling's extra point try. A 2-touchdown game halfway through fourth quarter.
Looking in the eyes of quarterback Jay Stoner right away, checking and seeing McGuffey. McGuffey, once he makes the catch here, he's able to shed Walker and get his way into the end zone to give the Cowboys another touchdown.
Stoner, who has taken a beating in the past, he's had a separated sternum, he's had fans boot him, he's seen an offense dumped on him in the middle of the season last year in '98 when he saw Dana Dimmel take over as offensive coordinator. Then in '99, Dimmel just concentrated on the head coaching, and there was a change in the offense, and they ran the triple shoot offense that was run at 1AA Emporia State. So he's seen so many different things go on. There is no stability per se, but the one thing he said that was interesting is it's prepared me for coaching because it's exposed me to a lot of different styles and philosophies. And it may be a line of work he checks out down the line. Lee pointed out the quote that was in Sports Illustrated from Stoner. I thought the rest of that quote was great. I know quite a bit about quite a bit. And now Vic Koenig, as his head coach, will add to that college football lesson book. But if you weren't with us earlier, Kirk told us one of the key moves at the start of this season from a player leadership standpoint. And as a quarterback, Kirk, how important is it to walk in that room, first meeting, first day, and that man, new head coach, says, 11, you've got a job.
Everybody else, it's open. And he told us last night that that was something that helped his confidence, because even though he's played for 4 years, he still had some questions. Anytime you change coaches, you got to wonder what direction he might head. And Vic Koenig made it very clear that Jay Stoner's his guy.
Tried the little short kickoff as Auburn was lined up with the hands team, and Clifton Robinson brought it out to the 27-yard line. You've already seen Stu Scott on SportsCenter in-game. He joins Dan Patrick for the full SportsCenter. The question of the night is the story in the Big Ten. And more on that in a second. New leaf for the Chargers, the San Diego NFL preview, and Andre Agassi's ouster at the U.S. Open coming up on SportsCenter after the game. Wisconsin, at last check, had a 10-7 lead on Western Michigan in the fourth quarter. Of course, all the Wisconsin suspensions certainly playing a role there. Ben Leard is back in the game with a 2-touchdown contest, and Rudy Johnson's in there as well. And the Wyoming defense trying to pry it free. Jerry Punch
As we mentioned, Ben Laird was 5-1 as a starter a year ago, but the whole story is they won the first 3 games of the year, and he goes out in the third quarter against Ole Miss in the 4th game of the year with a third-degree separated shoulder. Tries to come back against Arkansas 4 games later, is knocked unconscious for 2 minutes on the field. Finally starts against Central Florida for a win, and then the big win over Georgia before the loss to Alabama late in the year. But the big story for him is he had to learn to throw the football again. He told me that separated shoulder made him have to learn all over again how to throw a football. He pushed it in the Georgia game. This year, he's winding up and throwing it again.
Hands here. Johnson and Laird got their feet tied up. It'll bring up 3rd down. That Georgia game was important. He's from over in that Athens neck of the woods over at Hartwell, Georgia. As a matter of fact, he is engaged, was engaged this summer to Melanie King, who was a student at Georgia. So that game is very important. And his brother,
big game tomorrow,
Jeff, is the starting quarterback at Ben's Old High School, Hart High School in Hartwell, Georgia. And Ben was just as worried about Friday night and his brother's first game as he was about tonight and the season opener for Auburn. That was an impressive 4.16 he put up in front of family and friends against the Dogs. 3rd and 13. Wyoming's thinking, hold here, make something happen. 4th down.
They're tackling that football, aren't they?
And you know, it's happened so many times we watch ball games. The momentum have now switched. You know, Auburn, we were sitting here using all of our A stuff because we figured the game was over. Well, there's 5 minutes to go. They're back in the ball game, and it doesn't surprise me. Wyoming has had 4 7-4 records in a row.
At least 7 wins.
7 wins.
10, 8, 8, and 7.
I'm telling you, average 7 wins a game for 4 years. It's a good football team. It's not over yet.
Damon Duval to kick. He's been terrific tonight. It's not his best effort. McGuffey on the run. Wow. That's a pick that would make Keith Hernandez smile at first base. How'd he trap that? Not let it bounce off his foot and into an Auburn player's hands. A little scoop there.
Do you realize,
Coach, you mentioned the momentum, also the field position. You know, the early part of the second half, Wyoming couldn't start from anywhere but inside their own 20. Now, these last few drives, they're getting a little bit of breathing room.
Do you realize a couple of big plays and an onside kick, and stay tuned, folks. It ain't over yet.
14-point Auburn lead. Max Swanson in the game. He's at a receiver. Threw a touchdown earlier. Underthrown and nearly intercepted. The defense was by Rodney Creighton. The right corner, couple of INTs last year. Good to go into an SEC season and have 2 senior cornerbacks who have played in the heat of battle in the SEC. They started every game last year.
Yeah, Rodney Creighton and Larry Kasher, both these guys are experienced, and I think the thing that's most impressive about them is how tough they are. Last year, majority of the season, they had little injuries, but they played through them. Sprained ankles, wrists, a lot of things hurting them, but they kept playing, and that experience is going to pay off this year.
Johnson gets wrapped up by Rashard Gilliard, who's had a couple of big hits. Gilliard and Creighton over there on the play. Kasher not in the game right now.
Wyoming's going to the no-huddle offense because of the time situation. But what they need to do is try to get a first down, even if they have to go for it on 4th down, in my opinion.
You'd go for it down here?
Absolutely.
At this point in the game?
Absolutely.
Great catch. First down in Auburn territory at the 39 for Malcolm Floyd. 21 yards, and Floyd used his 6'6" height against Gilliard, who is under 6 feet.
And Stoner put it up into the air where he knew he could take advantage of that size because of how big his wide receiver is. When he's 6'6" and he can get up into the air, you see he put it right in a perfect position where Floyd can make that catch.
From the Auburn 39, here's a run. Garrett. Nate Scott, actually. Nate Scott's first carry. Bizarre time to see him in the game. First down.
I
the play you're talking about.
I love the call because it was a draw. That keeps those linemen who are rushing at the passer. If nothing else, it slows them down to allow you to throw the football. Great call.
What do we say about Wyoming after you play them?
Respect.
First and 10. Stoner moving the chains. Ryan McGuffey there. Second and short.
It's time to give Rusty Burns, the offensive coordinator, the new offensive coordinator, a lot of credit here because he's calling the right kind of plays. He's never panicked. He's got to move the ball and make it first downs.
Wyoming, full complement of timeouts. Nervous noise from the Jordan Hare crowd. First down for Malcolm Floyd. Stepped out of bounds, but it's going to be first and goal, Wyoming. The clock has stopped inside of 4 minutes, and a 21-point lead is looking like it could be 7 pretty soon.
It's interesting. Even though they're picking up first downs, they're getting out of bounds. They feel that Auburn is on their heels right now. They don't want to get into a huddle, even though the clock has stopped. They can't watch.
The trip from Colorado Springs is more worthwhile now, isn't it? Stoner flush. Touchdown! Ryan McGuffey's second. And phone a friend. We've got a game.
I say nothing, Chris Fowler. High end zone here. Nice block right there to be able to keep Jay Stoner rolling to the outside. And that's very important. Nate Scott just got enough of Mills as he got to the outside, and McGuffey was all alone in the end zone.
And Stoner got popped after that. Wow. 5 of 6 on the drive. And the touchdown. Elling adds the extra point.
Okay, a little strategy now. Do you kick an onside kick with 3:52?
3 timeouts. You kick it deep.
3 timeouts. I think you kick it deep.
Kick it deep. First guess.
First guess it now. He might do that.
8-21. They bounce a kick. It is fielded by Auburn at the 25. Clifton Robinson put a knee down.
We were talking off camera. It's so hard. I know as a player and as a coach, once you put the second team in, all the guys talking about, what they're doing at the ATO house. I don't know. What are you doing? The game is over. They can't get it back. Is this true?
No, you're right. You're right.
We're talking on the sidelines about their plans for after the game.
ATO house. That was an ATO. That's why I put a plug in.
Okay. We weren't sure what that was.
Looked at each other.
Well, that's a fraternity, a nice fraternity. And I was
it?
ATO. Alpha Tau Omega, Florida State University.
All right. FSU Sunshine Scooter.
They got a chapter here at Auburn.
Rudy Johnson back in the game for Tommy Tupperville. His quarterback Ben Laird, like they were last series, but they went 3 and out. Laird will throw. Incomplete. Clock stops. Second down. It was intended for Lorenzo Diamond, the tight end.
Here, Ben Laird. I know he's not really quick and comfortable in running with the football, but there, once he got outside off that play action fake, there was nobody out there except the defender covering the receiver.
Look at body language, guys. Look at the Wyoming sideline. They're all crowded by the white mark. They want out. The Auburn guys are spread out. They're kind of back on their heels.
Yeah, they're.
Body language says so much in football. That's what's happening right now. It could change in one snap, though. Rudy Johnson. Rudy Johnson. Rudy Johnson. Rudy Johnson. Seen a few runs like that by an Auburn Tiger back?
Not in a few years.
35-21. Wow, what a run. 27 carries, 174 yards. The Stoner parents can only...
what can you say? What can you say?
When the big fellow runs it through for 70, takes it to the house, and puts Auburn back up by 14. In Duval. balls. Kickoffs have just been no big deal. Wyoming ball at the 20.
We could try to dissect this and show you the great block. And they got a couple good blocks. So that's one broken tackle. 2, 3. Now watch him have the speed to get to the outside, run away from people. They're trying to strip him. There's 4 broken tackles. 5, 6 broken tackles, and they still can't bring him down. That's a powerful running back. And I think his coach knew that he was going to be good. I don't know if he thought he could be this good. This early.
Vic Koning's team climbed the mountain. They're back in the game. That last knockout punch. That's the longest Auburn run in 5 years. Average 1 yard.
And it's interesting, in our meeting, remember we were sitting around talking to the kid, he didn't say too much?
Nope.
And the guy said, we'll see how good you are. And I said, let me tell you something, young man. The last time we sat in a meeting where a kid had not played college football and never played, and we said, what kind of player he is, it was Michael Vick. And I said, how about you doing the same thing? And look at him. I mean, he is coming on.
That was last year when we saw Virginia Tech Clemson.
First game Michael Vick ever played.
First game against a 118. They had an easy one against James Madison. Swanson went up to try to get it. Matt couldn't hang on.
We mentioned that if he's able to get 3 more carries, he'd be the first Auburn back to carry the ball at least 30 times since 1994. Now, if you look at how many yards he has, 174 yards. The last Auburn back to run for over 150 yards, Stephen Davis, back in 1995. So they have not had good running here, obviously, in the last few years.
Dan and Stu of SportsCenter. As soon as we're done, here's Doc Punch.
Rudy Johnson told us his favorite Auburn running back was, of course, Heisman Trophy winner Bo Jackson. But the guy he wanted to emulate the most was Emmitt Smith. I think Bo and Emmitt will be very proud of Rudy's runs here tonight, guys.
Absolutely, Jerry. 3rd and 9. What a hit by Tavares Pounds.
You know, we know Tommy Tuberville is a terrific football coach, but he also is very smart. This year, Auburn's non-conference schedule is Wyoming, Northern Illinois, and Louisiana Tech. Do you know how many games that Tommy Tuberville has won out of conference since he's been head football coach? 16 and zippo. He's never lost a game as a head coach to a non-conference team. That guy right there. Smart scheduling.
Going for it on 4th and 9. Down 14. One Stoner, and nobody on this side except Brock Ralph trying to break free and fight back for the ball. I don't know who that's going to be on. There was contact between Ralph and the DBs. Ronaldo Adamy in the game for the first time, junior college player, along with Stanford Simmons. On Auburn. Keep Wyoming alive. Contact was made by Stanford Simmons. Wyoming hasn't given up. Their quarterback hasn't. And neither has the Stoner family. We got a flag. Sister Rachel along with mom and dad.
If you drove all the way from Colorado Springs, would you give up?
No way.
Thank you.
No way.
That's a great family story right there, man.
First down, drive still alive, and so are the Cowboys. Shovel pass finally works to Nate Scott. Exploding across midfield. Well, Scott is listed as the 3rd string tailback. He picked up 15 yards there. Nate was a wide receiver. He's been moved back to his old position.
From what I've seen, that Nate Scott's a pretty good football player. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see him play a lot more as the season goes along.
What is it about you guys, by the way? Good games, exciting football just follows you two. Wherever you go with Chris on a Saturday, and Thursday nights last year, we had so many games that
came down in the last quarter.
And looked like bigger mismatches, but were just tremendous games. Part of it is these players know, and talking to them a little bit, that all their peers are watching on Thursday night. Everybody's game plan is in. The pass to Nate Scott, fighting to get out of bounds. They know all their peers are watching, and
want to put on a good show.
Absolutely, they really do.
Well, we're going to see Wyoming, speaking of putting a good show on, They got Texas A&M. They will not beat Texas A&M. Texas A&M will bang them physically and keep the ball away from them. But they could beat Central Michigan, Nevada, New Mexico State. They could beat a lot of those football teams.
Hey, San Diego State, we just saw go by on the Sports Center bottom line is 7-7. Their game over on ESPN2 with Arizona State. Wisconsin did score again to get out to a 19-7 fourth quarter lead. But you're right, depending on how their suspensions fall, their Oregon game becomes a very interesting game.
Yes. If you look at their entire schedule, the Oregon game is probably one of their toughest games, even though it's at home, just because a lot of their conference games are at home. They play the toughest game on the road is in Michigan, in the Big House, and they don't play Penn State or Illinois. So that Oregon game, as far as the BCS and the national championship picture, is really big.
Speaking of games and important games, next Saturday, Auburn goes to Oxford, Mississippi, where Tommy Tuberville was the coach. Took over a program that was racked by NCAA violations and suspensions, cleaned it up, propped them up. They overachieved when they were undermanned. Coach Tuberville put Ole Miss back on its feet. The folks in Oxford were unhappy that he left, and they go back there in 9 days. This is not the CFL. Players started forward before the snap. It'll be a penalty on Wyoming. ESPN2 will have the Auburn at Ole Miss game. You think the Grove over in Oxford is going to be hot and heated before that game next Saturday night?
Romero Miller, Deuce McAllister, Joe Gunn. I mean, they got the best backfield in all of college football at Ole Miss.
Everybody talks about Deuce McAllister, but the leading returning rusher in the SEC is Joe Gunn. So they have a nice 1-2 punch in that backfield. And Romero Miller, I think, is quietly one of the better quarterbacks in all of college football, not just the SEC.
It's a pretty good conference game for week 2. Rudy Johnson at Auburn going to Oxford. Stoner screen is incomplete.
That's an interesting thing here for the fans that don't know. You could either throw it forward like that, overhand or underhand. It's still, if it's not complete, an incomplete forward pass.
Yep.
This is 4th and 10 coming up. As the Stoner family holds out hope. They made another 4th down earlier in this drive. But why not one more? Remember, Sports Center follows our game in just a couple of minutes. Incomplete. And Auburn will take over on downs, and this game is in hand. Next Thursday night, we go to Greenville, North Carolina. Have you guys been to Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium before?
Yes,
No,
I
sir.
have. I have.
You have, Coach?
In fact, one of my closest friends is a guy named Ron Dowdy. And you know where he lives? Orlando, Florida. And that's the stadium is named after him.
It's named after him?
Thank you very much.
The actual Dowdy?
Ron Dowdy is a close friend of mine in Orlando, and the stadium is named after him. He'll be with us next week. He's a multi-millionaire that wears no socks. I'm telling you, all right. I'm telling you right now. I'll bring him up to the booth. He wears no socks.
That's the worst promo I've ever done in 9.5 years at ESPN. We'll see you right after college football tonight on Thursday for Michael Vick, the Heisman Trophy candidate. Of course, everyone's a Heisman Trophy candidate, but he's one of the guys who's for real at the top of everybody's list going into the season. Michael Vick opened everybody's eyes with the performance against Florida State in the 2000 Nokia Sugar Bowl, the national championship game with over 300 total yards of offense. And very rarely do you see the Florida State defense look befuddled at trying to stop somebody, and they did on that night.
Last week's Yo of the Week by me, 322 yards total offense by Michael Vick was better, Mike, than 8 teams did against Florida State last year. He had more yards against Florida State than 8 teams did.
That's great.
That was your Yo of the Week?
That was my Yo of the Week. I got a special Yo of the Week for you this week.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not telling you what it is. You got to watch Saturday to see.
On game day? I think people want to know, do you guys fly, do you sit next to each other on the plane going to Connecticut tomorrow?
No, he goes first class. I got to sit in the back.
College game day comes your way Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern with Chris Lee and Kirk. Everybody has to open with an easy home game. You guys will open the regular season with an easy home game in Connecticut in our studios, and then start hitting the road.
We look forward to getting that nice new studio, huh?
Oh,
Remember we did
beautiful.
the preseason show? That was
Oh,
nice.
that's gorgeous. And beautiful downtown Bristol, the Radisson. I knew I hadn't been there in a long time last year when they gave me, not the elevator side, they gave me the trash can side, and they gave me, this is true, a handicap room.
Is that right?
A handicap. The doors didn't open
Trying to
right.
tell you something.
Trying to tell me something. I felt kind of bad.
You've been coming there for 30 years
I mean,
now. They figured you...
14 years, and I don't even get the elevator side at the Radisson.
A few minutes ago, I felt like I had control of this game. And we're just trying to do a little promo, and we lost the whole broadcast. It's just gone. We had millionaires without socks, the elevator side.
Well, they're giving you inside scoop.
Where do you stay when you go to Bristol?
This is the first time I've seen Wyoming in person. And I'm walking away with the same feeling I have that other teams have. I respect this team for not quitting when Auburn's second team was in. My goodness, that was impressive. Very, very impressive Wyoming Cowboy effort. Jerry Punch real quick.
Hey, guys, the best compliment you can give a football team is to tell them that they have earned your respect. And last year when Wyoming left Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, and the year before when they left Ohio State, both those football teams said, hey, we respect this Wyoming Cowboy football team. They do not quit. They hit you in the mouth. They keep coming play after play no matter what the score is, guys. This Wyoming team will be heard from in the Mountain West before the year's out.
Absolutely, Doc. Mountain West is going to be very competitive again this year. No heavyweight team unless Utah runs the table.
No, it's wide open.
Oh, no. Who are you picking?
Miami and Nebraska.
No, I'm the Mountain West.
And the Mountain West?
Okay, I'm taking BYU
I think
to win the Mountain West.
I think I'm going to take Colorado State.
BYU.
Well, Auburn will go to 1-0. They will go to Ole Miss and then play LSU. 2 SEC games, but they will do it knowing that they have a man who can run the football. This team is one of the worst running all year, all over the nation last year. But they had 174 yards from Rudy Johnson tonight. Beat Wyoming 35-21. With Lee and Kirk and Doc, Mike Tirico, thanks for watching this presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Sports Center is next. Good night from Auburn, Alabama.
Right about now on Sports Center. Time. It's about that time. College football.